eBay, but he was fucking crying.
So I think she ended up having a couple kids, and that's why she got out of the rap game. Yeah, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just going to not watch this.
Was it on Cheddar when they called that Kevin O'Leary and the?
So
I'm just going to not watch this. Oh, this was a video that got recommended the other day that we should watch. Yeah, this one.
Then it's as a Jew, you're.
He is a sick puppy. Reaction to Kanye West's anti-Semitic comments. Okay, here we go. I actually like the Valuetainment guy a lot.
Dennis, as a Jew yourself, when you saw what was going on with Kanye and the things he was saying, and then boom, Adidas, and his marriage, and everything you listen to, his comments about Hitler on Alex Jones, and now he's been kind of low key for the last 6 weeks, which I think is a great idea. The fact whoever he listened to, good for him to kind of taking a break. And apparently, low-key, he got married to somebody that no one knows about. It was done in a very low-key way. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. It's just what the media is saying. How did you process what he was saying about Jews? Were you upset? Were you frustrated? Were you saying, well, partially he's right about this. Well, he's not right about this. I can't believe he said that. What feelings did you get when he was saying what he was saying?
Well, I don't work on feelings as much. I try to think through rationally. I wrote a book on anti-Semitism. I have fought it all of my life. The book is called Why the Jews? And
why?
There's every population has a percentage of people who hate Jews. There are a whole host of reasons why people might hate Jews. And as I point out in my book and in the piece I wrote on Kanye West, one of my columns, non-Jews need to know something. Anti-Semitism destroys societies. I'm not saying it because I'm a Jew. I'm saying it because it's true. No society has survived anti-Semitism. Spain was one of the greatest world powers. Then it had the Spanish Inquisition and the Spanish expulsion of the Jews in 1492. And have you heard from Spain in the last 500 years? It went downhill with the speed of a skier after it kicked out its Jews.
I feel like Spain is doing just fine. Is that true? I feel like Spain is okay. Like Spain is still there, right? I'm pretty sure.
Germany was the most vibrant culture in Europe before Hitler. Most vibrant in the arts, in philosophy, in science. And then they had the Holocaust. What do you hear from Germany? Volkswagen? I mean, what the economy is? Can people even name a living German?
Okay, this guy's trolling. Bro, like, Germany is like one of the most successful countries in the world right now. What are you talking about? These are such bad arguments. Ooh, you're making such bad arguments. Ooh. Bro, listen. Bro, I could defend Jews 100 times better than this guy. You know what? I didn't want to have to do this. I need to become the champion of the Jews. Like these are the most retarded fucking arguments. I could defend Jews 100 million times better than this.
It's not to mention what was done to Germany as a result of Hitler being in power. The losses in Germany, the rape of German women by Soviet soldiers. It is, you're an idiot if you're a non-Jew and you don't fight anti-Semitism.
Okay.
I don't even care if people like Jews. I care if people hate Jews. You don't like Jews? Don't like Jews. Fine. It doesn't. Everybody has a pet group that they may not like. Okay, the Germans didn't like the Poles didn't like the Russians don't like the Ukrainians. Everybody dislikes his neighbor. The British didn't like the Irish didn't like the British. It doesn't mean a damn thing. Jokes I used to hear that were called Polish jokes, when I went to England, the exact same jokes, but it was the Irish. The exact same joke. That was what was so funny about it. So it's dislike or don't like and hate. They're a very, very, very different thing. If a man can say Hitler was a good man, he is a sick poop. He's a sick puppy. I mean, there's just There's something very scary about such a human being. And by the way, if you have to be a Jew to be offended by that, if somebody said Stalin was a good person, I would think the person is a sick puppy too. And it wasn't Jews who Stalin went after mostly. He killed 6 million, 5 million Ukrainians deliberately, plus 30 million Russians in general. But how many Americans died fighting Hitler? Isn't that an insult to all the Americans who died in World War II? Oh, Hitler was, oh, really? So these Americans died in vain. If Hitler was a good guy, then your grandparents who died or fought, they died in vain. They fought in vain. They got blinded or shell-shocked in vain. But people don't have they don't have either courage or a moral compass to distinguish between good and bad. So you don't like Jews, you don't like Jews, fine. I'm not asking you.
Dude. Man, like this is hard. Like without any commentary on the Jews, you can look at the arguments this guy's making. Like this guy's the points this guy is making are so bad. They're just such bad arguments.
As I said, I'm repeating myself. Forgive me.
Because okay, so let's get in the mind of someone that doesn't like Jews. They would say, "Yeah, my great grandparents were manipulated into fighting against the Germans." Yeah, that is what they would say. It's like, yeah, that is what they would say if you're talking to someone that really hates Jews, and yeah, that is what they would say.
But hating Jews is a very bad thing.
Dennis, what's the difference between a Jew saying there are still people who hate Jews versus a black a person on the left saying there are still people who hate blacks?
Yes, there are people who hate blacks. That's correct. But there are people who hate every group. Therefore what? The question is how many? What percentage of whites in America hate blacks? It's tiny. The percentage is tiny. Okay? What was it? Larry Elder, who he could reel off these statistics. If you woke him up at 3 a.m., he's gifted in that way. I'm not gifted in that way to know statistics by heart, but he shows how many whites voted for Obama, and that. What was it? The percentage of whites who voted for Obama was smaller than the percentage of whites who voted for some white candidate. I don't remember what it was. This is the least racist, multi-ethnic country on the face of the earth in the history of the.
Wait, what does he say? He's saying that barely any whites in the U.S. hate blacks, but also that almost no whites voted for Obama. That seems pretty contradictory. Right?
The world. Here's a statistic no kid at Harvard knows. Okay? At Harvard.
Okay.
I'm picking the creme de la creme. And that is that ask a kid at Harvard how many slaves, how many black slaves were brought to the United States in the transatlantic
320,000
slave trade. And then ask them how many blacks came to the United States voluntarily in the last 50 years.
I don't know.
The first one is 360,000.
Fuck, bro. I was close. 360,000 slave trade.
The second number is 3 million.
3 million. So therefore, the U.S. can't be racist towards black people because they're still coming to the country. Checkmate. True. You can't argue that.
Are they stupid?
So therefore, anti-black racism doesn't exist.
But by the way, if America is systemically racist, every black who moves here is an idiot. You can't have it both ways. And
couldn't you flip this and say, if there are Americans who hate Jews, but Jews still move to the U.S., no one hates Jews. Otherwise, the Jews wouldn't move here. Hello? Checkmate. So there is no anti-Semitism. Like this is the most retarded fucking logic ever.
As I always say, any Jews moved to Germany in the 1930s? Not one. Right? Because that was systemically racist. Blacks moved to the United States because it's the best country on earth for a black to live, period. And they know it. Only the left denies it.
What was the number again? 360 and 3 million?
360,000 versus 3 million.
So he doesn't like the left.
And, I take a risk with any one of these numbers because if it's wrong, I lose my reputation. But I've been broadcasting 40 years, and truth is my number one goal. Those are the.
Can we get a fact check on that? Can someone please check Snopes? What's this guy's name? Prager? Can we please get a fact check on that? Is truth his number one goal?
Data. And you know where I got the data on the 3 million from? William Safire in the New York Times in the 1980s.
Cool.
That's the amazing thing. That's where I got it.
Last thing here, a couple minutes. So, Holocaust, you got slavery, okay? We're not comparing two different tragedies, so that's not what we're going to be doing. We're not sitting here and saying which is worse, which is this. I'm not doing that.
I would. By the way,
oh no, don't do it. Don't do it. Actually do it.
I believe in gradations of evil. Slavery is despicable and evil, but in the final analysis, you could at least live. In the final analysis, the Jews weren't slaves. Jews would have given their right arm to be slaves. They were exterminated. There is a difference, and people need to know that. I do make moral distinctions. If we don't, we lose our humanity.
Damn.
That's not the question I was going to. My question wasn't that. My question was going to be, why after such a dramatic event that happened to Jews, okay, with the intentions of wanting to eliminate every single Jew on the face of the planet, right? This is what Hitler's vision was, right? Why is it years later, after a crisis like that, what values and principles helped Jews pretty much own Hollywood, do well in business, do well in life?
Oh, I'll tell you. I have the answer for it.
Yeah.
They didn't see themselves as victims. It is the most paralyzing.
Okay, so if the reason, so he's saying the reason why Jews are so successful is because Jews don't see themselves as victims. So then you must necessarily infer that any other demographic that is not as successful as Jews do see themselves as victims. Huh.
Thing in black life, what the left is doing to blacks. The left hates you blacks. No, they don't hate you. They have contempt for you. Telling you you're a victim is
Wait, rewind. Hold up. I want to
do well in life.
Oh, I'll tell you. I have the answer for it.
Yeah.
They didn't see themselves as victims. It is the most paralyzing thing in black life, what the left is doing to blacks. The left hates you blacks. No, they don't hate you. They have contempt for you.
The left hates you blacks. They have contempt for you. Okay.
Telling you you're a victim is paralyzing. Jews did not walk around thinking they're victims even after the Holocaust.
Why not?
Because they knew it is completely self-destructive.
How did they know?
I don't know. It's a great... well, maybe because of the Jewish tradition has always been, we take responsibility for our own suffering.
So why wouldn't the media try to target the Jews to make them feel victims? How come they didn't succeed with Jews?
The media doesn't have contempt for Jews. It has contempt for blacks.
Why not, though? Why not?
Because the left has contempt for blacks. Because they use them. They don't use Jews.
Why? Why can't they use Jews? If they can use any sect, they would do it. So why can't they use Jews?
Well, Jews are disproportionately on the left. I mean, there's no way around it. So, in effect, there's no need to keep.
They already have them. In a sense.
Yeah, in a sense, yes.
I got you. I got you. Interesting.
I'm sorry to say.
Is this guy touted as like some intellectual powerhouse? This guy here, this is Dennis Prager. Is Dennis Prager an intellectual powerhouse? Like, this guy is so out of touch, incorrect, rhetorically ineffective. I mean, he just, like, let's be honest. He just walked into a trap that this guy on the left said. What's the guy's name on the left? The host? Like, Prager just RP walked into the trap he set. Just slowly, blindly RP walked into the rhetorical trap he set. If you didn't catch it, he says, okay, so who hates the blacks again? Well, it's the left, and the left has contempt for the blacks. Okay, and who owns the media? Well, the left does. Okay, and by the way, which way do the Jews ideologically lean in the U.S. mostly? Well, the left. he just said all it just said all that. He just like walked into that. He just walked right into that. That's like, okay, nice one, dude. This guy's a fucking moron. He just stood in the fire. He just got Molotov'd. What's his name? By like Summit 1G. Insane. This guy is amazing. Amazing. Interesting. This guy lectured the host about tragedies when he's Assyrian, Armenian. Literally, I didn't know he's Armenian. Okay, cool. Literally a non-existent country anymore. Yeah, no. Can anyone think of any problems the Armenians have faced? Just in the last, has any even in recent times, any problems the Armenians have had to overcome? I sure can't. I don't know. Genocide? Any genocides? I don't know. Genocide? No, I don't think so. I gotta blow my nose. Amazing. Dude, this is cool. I remember when the Valuetainment guy was like interviewing bodybuilders. He was like more of like he's like segued from like sort of bodybuilder channel like a couple years ago to now doing politics, I guess. Amazing. What else do we have here? Let me take a look here.
So at 13 years old.
Let me take a look here. What else do we have here? Let me hear more from Mr. Prager. Okay.
You said ever since I was a kid, I wanted to fight evil. Is what you said,
that's
right?
correct.
Okay, so evil. If you're 15, that's a few decades ago. How different was evil then than it is today? So evil then is what year? That's what year were you 15?
So it was the late 60s.
Okay, so late 60s. What was evil in the late 60s, and what have you seen the evolution of evil from then to today?
Evil is fairly consistent. Communism is evil. Nazism is evil. Islamism, not Islam, Islamism is evil. Where you deliberately hurt other human beings is evil. I've never found that.
I take issue with that. We just haven't tried communism the right way. I have a very strong feeling that if we try it one more time and we just do it the right way this time, that everything is actually going to be really good.
A complex subject. And if people are not clear that the three things I mentioned are evil, there is something wrong with their moral compass. It's broken. I mean, if you can't acknowledge how evil... But the truth is, the ignorance, I'll tell you, there's only one difference to answer your question between then and now. You say to a kid in high school, Auschwitz or Gulag, he doesn't know what the hell you're talking about.
That is first off, 100% not true. Like, literally every single public school American student has the Holocaust, Auschwitz, Nazis drilled into their fucking skull. Like, we spend a crazy disproportionate amount of time talking about the Holocaust in American public school.
That borders on evil.
To be fair, we don't talk a lot about gulags, curiously. But we do talk a lot about the Holocaust.
Not to teach young people about the greatest evils just of the last century and to a great extent of all of history, Gulag and Auschwitz, is a crime.
Disproportionate? Yeah, I think, maybe this is a crazy take. I think we spend a disproportionate amount of time talking about the Holocaust and World War II. I totally do. In U.S. public school, do we learn about the Korean War? Nope. Do we learn about the Armenian genocide? Nope. Do we learn about, like, there are so, we don't, like I said, we don't even really learn about the gulags or what the USSR did. We really don't. We have a very strong focus on World War II. We really, really do.
No preferred pronouns. They're taught to be basically idiots. That's what, look, non-impressive people are teaching people to be non-impressive. That is the state of American education in one sentence.
Non-impressive people are teaching people to be non-impressive.
Yes.
So you're saying evil's been evil for the last however many forever
since humans.
Well, but let me ask you this. Let me maybe I want to extract a little bit more out of you on this topic. So, you know how like this new ChatGPT comes out? Oh my God, look what it's doing. People are using it as customer service, but it's only 1.0. Wait till 2.0, 3.0, 5.0, 7.0, or iOS. I don't know what version we're on right now, 16 or 15. Hey, the new operating.
Bro, in Germany, you literally have World War II Nazi Germany every year lessons. It's so annoying. Oh, yeah. My wife is German. We've talked about that. Yeah, there is still to this day, it's very curious. Like, you know, I guess you can kind of understand, but I think it's a bit much. And this is my American point of view, right? Looking at the Germans. My wife is German. I just recently was in Germany. There is still like a rigidly enforced amount of German national guilt. Like you are not allowed to be a proud German. You're not. You can say Sweden #1. You can say Sweden's the best. You can say USA #1. We say it all the fucking time. But if you say Deutschland über alles, not allowed. There's a huge socially taboo, right? And it's like, okay, so you 20-year-old German dude, because you look like a guy that did something bad 80 years ago, they say, then you should feel bad about that. Bro, you weren't even alive. You weren't even alive.
Rating system is 16.0. It's better than what it was at 8.0, 3.0. Is the evil 49.0 today, has it evolved into even stronger ways to divide, to manipulate, to pin parents against kids, husbands against wives, men against women? Has it evolved to be stronger today, or has the strength been the same forever? Men have gotten weaker.
There are relatively new phenomena. The general evil is the same evil as it's always been. What the Chinese Communist Party and the North Korean Communist Party does to its people, what Putin is doing in Ukraine. I mean, these are evils. Totalitarianism is a modern evil. You need mass communication and mass police and mass technology to have totalitarianism. But otherwise, what is new in America is I'll give you a relatively new evil. The vast number of adult children who do not speak to parents because they differ with the parents' conservatism. This is new. It was unheard of in the past that you stop talking to your parent because of how they voted. And I consider that evil.
That's what I mean, new evil.
You know what, as wrong as this guy is about a lot of things, this is an interesting American phenomenon. This is a true observation. We're in Germany over the holidays. Not once at any family dinner, at any family get-together, at any evening talk around the TV, I'm there for 2 weeks. Not once do any of our family members or family friends talk politics. Literally not once. And in America, like, Americans are obsessed 24/7 at every get-together, at every dinner, at every family reunion, at every single holiday, at every single breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Politics. It's in our fucking skull. It's in our skull. I think it's our media. I think it's a media problem, right? People are so just propagandized and riled up, and it's just like it's very people are very polarized, right? I think it's, you know, Germany is probably on the lower end of the spectrum right now. It seemed like people are not really my wife says it's like sort of socially taboo to talk about politics unless you're really close with someone. It's not really happening so much, but in the U.S., not the case. I think the U.S. is probably at the forefront of just like casual political discourse, and I think it's a result of our media, and I think it's generally a bad thing.
Well, that's new evil.
A new evil.
Okay. What else is new evil?
Well, in America, this is not a new evil in the world, but in America, the suppression of free speech, the amount of censorship is brand new. America, Woodrow Wilson flirted with it, but outside of the Woodrow Wilson era, we have never had a suppression of free speech. That was the one thing every American agreed with. 45% of young Americans, according to Pew, which I tend to trust, say the following: I believe in free speech except for hate speech. And they don't realize, because they've not been taught to think logically, they don't realize that that's an oxymoron. It's a self-contradictory statement. If you don't believe in free speech for hate speech, you don't believe in free speech. What do you believe in free speech for? Only speech you agree with. Everything else is hate speech.
I wonder if he would defend the hate speech of Nazis, for instance. Just as a thought experiment. Would Prager champion the free speech of Nazis? Because it's pretty hateful. It's pretty hateful, I wonder.
This is what the left has taught them. And the left has never, from Vladimir Lenin to Columbia University, the left has never allowed dissent. And there's a reason. If there's dissent, there's no left.
If there's dissent, there's no left.
Correct. They cannot. That's why they shut down conservative speakers. 4 years of left-wing indoctrination at the average university is not enough. They know one conservative, eloquent speaker in an hour and a half can undo 4 years of the lies that they're told of America being systemically
Zip it, lock it,
racist,
put it in my pocket.
of there being more than two sexes, etc. That's why they don't want us on their campus. Conservatives never gave a damn if a liberal came to a campus. They invited them. Jerry Falwell invited Ted Kennedy.
He's right, though. No, he is right. He is right. Oftentimes, all it takes is one very educated, informed, articulate, charismatic speaker, and they can get a lot done. That is true. That is very fucking true.
To Liberty University. Mm-hmm. I am a conservative. I ache to have. I have offered money to any left-wing New York Times columnist, which means any one of the 99% who are left-wing, to debate. I've offered $10,000 plus any money that they would raise at.
Bro, I should LARP as a leftist and debate this guy. It's the freest 10 grand. I'll take your offer. I'm left-leaning. I'm left-leaning. I'm a liberal. I'll take the 10 grand. I'll debate you, okay? Because this guy is fucking, he has got 50 different screws loose.
For admission. And they could pick the venue. They could pick the moderator. And I would still do it. They don't do it. They don't debate. They smear. About a six herb: sexist, intolerant, xenophobic, homophobic, Islamophobic, racist, bigoted. I had to make an acronym because it's a lot of terms.
What was that again, that acronym?
Sexist, six herb. SIXHIRB.
Break it down again.
Good
sexist, intolerant, xenophobic, homophobic, Islamophobic, racist, bigoted.
Name calling.
That's all they do because they can't debate. They can't stand up and tell you there are more than two sexes. Are there more than two sexes in kangaroos? In penguins? But all of a sudden you reach the human species and there are more than two sexes? 56 if you sign up for Facebook? 56?
Bro, my mom is incredibly hyper left, hyper progressive. And she spent the night at our place probably about a week ago, and Kathy and I were up till midnight talking to my mom. We were talking, we were doing the American thing. We're talking politics. We're talking about all sorts of issues that's going down. And I'm not going to say the context of the conversation. I'm not going to say how we got here. I probably can't actually. But at one point I asked my mom, I said, Mom, how many fingers do humans have? I said, Mom, how many fingers do humans have? And like, she paused. She paused and sat there for like 5 seconds. And like, she knew it was a trap. She knew this was a trap question. And she was like, mostly 10. Mostly 10. Okay. All right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, mostly 10. You're right.
Oh, we're living in the age of the absurd, of the total absurd.
Yep.
And by the way, I have a reason for that. Secularism. The post-Judeo-Christian world produces only idiocy. No religious person says there are more than two sexes. The only people who say there are more than two sexes, the only people who say men give birth are secular. Secularism produces morons. Not every secular person is a moron, of course not. But every secular institution is moronic. And the most secular institution is the university.
I don't know if moron is the word I would use. I think people without a spiritual foundation, I think they tend to they end up replacing religion with something, right? They like that is a void in the existence of a human that has to be filled with something. There is a void there in the absence of spirituality or some sort of religion, has to be filled with something. And I think you're seeing it get filled with people that are secular. It gets filled with I would say something much far worse.
And that's where all the moronic ideas originate.
How do they keep making so much advancement? How are concepts that literally make no sense create this kind of momentum?
There was an answer given by G.K. Chesterton, or it's at least attributed to him, late 19th century, early 20th century British thinker. When people stop believing in God, they don't believe in nothing. They believe in anything.
Wow, that's deep.
That's the answer to your question. People don't, even secular conservatives don't agree with me. They think secularism is a blessing. It's only a blessing in government. It is not a blessing in society.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right.
Okay, so Prager is the guy from PragerU. He has like his own online university or something. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Like, I'm actually just fucking dumbfounded that this guy is lauded as a YouTube channel. Why is this guy as famous as he is? Why is he as highly esteemed? Like, I actually just cannot fucking wrap my head around this. Why is he as... Like, what? Because this guy's a fucking moron. This guy's a fucking moron. What is... Okay, what's his most popular video? Popular. 20 million views. Left or liberal? The progressive income tax, a tale of three brothers. Why I left the left. Immigrants don't support... Okay, so this guy is like a... I mean, he's just a good old-fashioned Judeo-Christian boomer con. That's it. There's a million of them. There's actually millions. There's millions. He's a Judeo-Christian boomer neocon. We love those guys. Okay, cool. That's what he is. There's about probably like 30 million, too many of them.
So at 30.
Then what else is going on here? Toxic women.
You ever heard the saying, behind every great man, you'll find a great woman? You ever heard that before? If that is true, the opposite has to also be true, no? Let me kind of get into it.
It is true.
Some of the ladies watching this, you may not like it. Some of you are going to love it. Fellas, this is a message for you. Pay attention, and pay attention very, very closely. If you get value from this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Let's get right into it. Behind every defeated man.
Listen, men, we need to have a talk. If you are like 30 and this is your physique, if this is your body, you need to do something else. Okay, whatever the fuck you have been doing is not working. You got to flip that shit 180.
You'll find a woman who ruined his life. This is something I tweeted this week. I want to read the whole thing. Again, stay with me. Behind every great man, you'll find a wonderful woman. Behind every defeated man, you'll find a woman that ruined his life. Is this true? Let me continue. There are two ways men get castrated. One is surgical. The other is emotional, when marrying the wrong woman. The wrong woman can ruin a man's life. You can see it on his face. No man knows how to act when they get married for the first time. There's not a manual for it. I call this the last appointment syndrome. Whoever you talk to last before going to sleep will dictate your future. Pat, how could you say this? I mean, this isn't fair. Isn't the opposite true as well? Shouldn't the opposite be true? What if a woman that also marries the wrong man? Could a girl also ruin her life by marrying the wrong man? Absolutely. However, the American system protects the woman, and there's a greater risk for a man to get married than a woman to get married.
You're not
and
allowed
that's
to acknowledge
just the
that.
truth, okay? There isn't any more of a way a man can show loyalty to a woman, meaning to say that I'm all in with you once they have a kid together and they're married. Because one, tax code, I took the biggest risk. Two, I had a kid with you, I took the biggest risk. What else do you want me to do to show you my love, right? Now, some of you may say, well, Pat, you can't be saying that. What, isn't the opposite true as well with women, with this, with that? Of course, the opposite can be true with your friends, your cousin, who you hang out with, for women, all that other stuff. But in Iran, men are protected, so women have to be careful who to marry. In Iran, if a woman divorces her husband and leaves, doesn't get half of what the husband has. The husband doesn't give nothing to the wife in Iran if he doesn't want to, because the law defends men. In America, Western society, it defends women. So if a man is married to a woman, and the ultimate way by law and taxes for a man to show that the liability purely financially is through getting married and having a kid with a woman, you're financially tied where you have to take care of that person if you don't have a nuptial agreement in place, which means in America, the man has to be careful who to marry, because she can totally ruin your life if you marry the wrong person.
It's true.
That's
is
in
true.
America, okay? So now if you're listening.
Yeah, I was going to say, in defense of women real quick, it is a pretty big fucking risk, is a pretty big fucking investment to go through 9 months of pregnancy, give birth, carry on the genetic seed of the man you're with, right, who may or may not be of high value, right? It takes a huge toll on your fucking body. Your body's fucking blown out. It takes months or years to recover. It's a pretty big fucking deal to spit out a baby.
Listen to this right now. So, well, Pat, what should I be looking at? Number one, take your time.
Women got to be picky.
As a man in America, if you want to get married, 30 to 40, the right age. Take your time. There is no competition. You know the race, like, hey, let's see who can run 100 yards. Hey, let's see who can do the 40. In marriage, no one cares how soon you get married at 18, 22, 28, or 32. No one cares. You can take your time, get married at 35, get married at 38, at 31, at 30, you are fine. Doing it too early, you don't have enough experience, because marriage doesn't come with a manual. As much as your mom, your dad, your friends, your peers are going to try to tell you how to get married, how to do it the right way, 99% of whatever anybody tells you about marriage, you're going to have to go through it yourself.
Mr.
So pump the brakes, take your
Snacky
time.
Box.
Look at the things that matter physically. Does she need to be attractive to you? It's important. Number two.
This is my own personal preference. I would not want to be a first-time dad at age 50. I know some men are totally content to wait that long, but that means by the time your kid is leaving high school, you are 68, you're pushing 70. I'm not saying you need to be 25 when you have your first kid, but I think for men you're not facing a biological clock, but there is a timeline that I think you want to fit inside of. I do
Values
think so.
and principles, best be common. You best believe in similar values and principles. How to raise family, how many kids, financially, who's in charge, who makes the decision, where do we live, travel. All of those things matter. And if you do that part correctly and you choose the right one, you'll have higher chances of doing something big in your life. I cannot tell you how many men I saw killed it in their careers, were doing so well. Suddenly, they married the wrong person and everything went down. I've seen men who were regular guys, average guys, are always making 80 grand a year, 60 grand a year, 40 grand a year. All of a sudden, they marry a woman that believes in them. Next thing you know, 300, 600, a million, running $20 million your business because somebody behind closed doors saying, baby, I believe in you. Baby, let's make it work. Baby, you got this. I got your back. You're amazing. And
Chat, baby chat, I believe in you. You got this. You can do this, baby chat.
he's doing his part. The guy's got to do his part. He's got to go and do his part. But behind closed doors, somebody is saying, I believe in you. Somebody behind is not nagging, negative, all that other stuff. That combination together, you see big things happening with them. So again, I'm expecting a lot of people to not like this, but I'm expecting many, many more to understand this message and receive it properly. If that's you and you received it, pump the brakes, take your time. Marriage is a big decision. Don't wing it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is a fucking nuclear take for some people. Yeah, like I've said this a million times. There is no more powerful partnership team that you will ever form in your life than having a really, really good, positive spouse. Having a badass, supportive, fucking kick-ass spouse that is invested in your success and your happiness and wants to see you be successful and happy. No, there's no better arrangement than that. Conversely, as he says, if you have a terrible spouse, you're gonna regret being fucking born. You're gonna regret the day that you were born. You will be motivated to invent a time machine so you can go back in time and prevent your mother from giving birth to yourself. You're gonna erase your own existence from the fucking timeline. That's your new drive. So you don't end up marrying your fucking psycho wife. Okay. So be careful. Be careful. That's you.
So at 13.
I hope not. Then what? Then what? Can I see what are his I don't want to watch that shit. Okay, then what do we have? Key to life is happiness in the household. Say with fresh accent. Okay, I'm not going to say it with a French accent, but you're true. You're true. You know what I say? I say happy wife, happy life. And that's really all there is to it, boys. There was something Joe Rogan. You guys want to watch Joe Rogan? Yeah, it's that simple. JRE clips. Okay. Analysis on U.S. TikTok ban and Twitter's FBI links. Man, I don't want to watch I don't want to watch like a 14-minute Joe Rogan clip. I don't know about that one, bros. We got to flip through the channels and see what's on TV here. We got to find something. What's this here?
Petty crime across the city of Portland is having a big impact on small businesses. And if that's not enough, the price of goods in general are in some cases more than they've ever been.
Yeah, the owner of Fried Egg, I'm in Love, can certainly speak to both of those issues. Bryant Clerkley spoke with the owner last week and followed up with him today. So, Bryant, what happened here?
Hey, Brittany and Ashley, Fried Egg, I'm in Love has a food cart on North Mississippi. The owner says the day after our story aired last week, someone stole a bunch of eggs that had just been dropped off. He also says that same week, someone vandalized the sign at the brick and mortar restaurant.
Dude, I went to the grocery store in our town. It's down the road, and eggs were $3.50 for a dozen. Everyone's talking about how expensive eggs are right now. Haven't they always been about $3.50 a dozen? Isn't that just like what they always are? It doesn't seem that bad.
On Hawthorne, he says the petty crime has to stop.
So someone probably just came across them. Maybe they knew about the price of eggs. I don't know. Maybe they just really wanted some breakfast. But they took about maybe half or a little over half of our case of eggs.
Jace Krause is the owner of Fried Egg.
Hear me out. What if it was a chicken? What if a chicken flew in, put the eggs back up its ass, and then flew away? Because it's sick of people stealing its eggs. The chicken is taking its eggs back.
I'm in Love, a restaurant that specializes in egg sandwiches. He has a brick and mortar location in Southeast Portland and this food truck on North Mississippi. He says last Thursday he woke up to a picture his employees sent.
Not knowing egg prices is a good indicator that you're out of touch with prices. Honestly, my wife buys groceries. I'm going to be honest, my wife exclusively buys our groceries. I make the money, she spends the money. But I'm thinking, I was at the grocery store earlier this week in person, and I was picking something up, and I saw eggs $3.50 for a dozen. I couldn't tell you what they were a year ago or 2 years ago, but I feel like they haven't moved that much off of memory. But you're right. My wife is the one that buys groceries. I'm not the one that buys the groceries. True.
You can see half of
$1 for a dozen 2 years ago. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true.
This box of eggs are missing. And at this time, Jace is paying double the price for eggs he was a year ago.
Someone had broken into a case of eggs that was just dropped off not too long ago by our supplier. They don't normally drop things off before we're there, but it just happened to, that's what happened that day.
Krause says this particular food truck pod has a lot of issues with petty crime. He says the food truck pod has an open layout and anyone can walk in at night.
It's been a thing ever since we've been here. People come around at night,
Feels
They're
bad, bro.
sometimes looking for cans. They might be also looking for easy.
Okay, it was me. I took the eggs. Yeah, so what? No, it's bad. This is downtown Portland, so it's a shithole. Yeah, so pretty much it's a shithole is what it is. Louis C.K. on his open border policy.
But my feeling is they should open it, the border, and just let them pour in, let everybody pour in, and then the answer, which is, well, then there'll be all these problems. Yes, there should be. It shouldn't be so great here, is what I'm saying. In America, it shouldn't be. It's a weird thing to sequester a certain group of people and try to keep upping their lifespan and their lifestyle, and just keep trying to increase that for this group of people.
Okay, so this is a retard alert. Man, what if you have a group of people that are willing to work harder, make more sacrifices, they've got a superior culture, they've got a stronger, and I'm not saying this is Mexico versus US, but I'm just saying hypothetically, if you've got a group of people that are, their cultural is more conducive to a healthy functioning society, it encourages and incentivizes education and discipline. Should they not reap the rewards? This is crazy that he's actually saying this.
And then this pressure of people trying to come in so they can enjoy it. And then it gets worse and worse down here. I mean, I'm not Canada. It's really just from down here. There's something wrong with that. That's not a system that's working. And it forces people to do cruel things to other people. There's a lot of people that die so Americans can be safe.
Well, I'll tell you, throughout the 250 years of American history, there's been a lot of fucking Americans that have died so that America can be safe and successful. A lot of Americans have laid down their lives so that less well-off people can find success in this country. And to take that and say, oh, well, fuck it.
They're just dying, weddings that are drone bombed in Yemen because the guy said something that might have resulted in American insecurity. Not even like definite American deaths, but like just so we can breathe a little easier. Folks die. And folks do labor in unsafe places so that we can keep the prices where we like them. There's so much about American life that other people pay for. That's part of it. But also, it's not good for us either. It's not.
You know what I say? You have identified a problem. We should bring all labor back to American shores. We should nationalize the labor. Okay, true. And we should stop all foreign intervention. And also all foreign aid. All foreign aid, all foreign intervention ceased, and we're going to nationalize our labor. We're going to bring it back. We're going to build everything on America. True. That's the solution. We should
not
do
a good way to live in a gated community. If you let folks pour in like any other wave, it'll kind of slosh, and then things will be different. I don't know. Like
isolationism didn't work before Pearl Harbor. Just saying, bro. This is something that's not taught in American history books. Why do you think the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor? Do you think they just decided to randomly do it? Do you think, bro, we blockaded their oil routes in the Indian Ocean. We blockaded the living fuck out of Japan. We cut off their oil supply, bro, and they were in a war with China. Like that's something we don't talk about here in the US, and of course, like I'm not like trying to say, hey, Japan, yeah, it was totally cool of you to bomb Pearl Harbor, but bro, America has never been isolationist, bro. In the early 1800s, we were fighting Barbary pirates in the fucking East Atlantic. Okay, like we were sending ships to the fucking Mediterranean Ocean as well to fight fucking pirates. Like we have never been isolationist. We've never been an isolationist country ever from our inception.
It'll really happen. A bunch of people will they just come with knives and start killing everybody? I don't think so.
I don't think so, but I don't know. Man, respectfully wrong. Bro, like, Colonel, I'm going to ask you, at what point do you think America has been isolationist? Literally when have we been isolationist? When? It was policy before World War II. Bro, we were funding the British during World War II. We're blockading the Japanese. What are you talking about? That's just not true. In fact, one of the reasons why we got in World War II, we made a deal with the British saying, listen, we're going to bail you out of this war. We're going to give you military supplies. We're going to send American men to the European theater, and in exchange, you're going to hand over all of your British military bases pretty much we're going to take the British military influence. Okay, we're going to succeed you as the global superpower now. And that option was presented to Britain. It's like, okay, you can be wiped off the face of the earth, or we're going to take all of your, and so they chose that pretty much. And so that's like the deal that was made. That's why we entered the war. That's why we entered World War II. This American isolationist idea, it's not true. It's just totally not true. Let me see here. Anyway, we were also part of World War One. America had big influence in World War I too. What are you talking about? That's crazy. That's crazy. There was this other video here. Where was this? Where was this? What was I going to show you guys? What was I going to show you guys, bro? I had a video up, and I don't know what happened to it. Damn. I think someone might have recommended it in chat, and I was going to pull it up, and then I totally fucking forgot about it. Well, chat, I have no video now. Feels bad. Feels bad, boys. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Let me just go back to the main page here. I have no idea. Tucker Carlson. This is nuts, and no one seems to care. Okay, Tucker. Okay, Tucker, what's the deal, dude?
It's Zelensky's 45th birthday today. He's getting a huge present. Ukraine is about to receive more than 30 M1 Abrams tanks from the U.S. military. That's a whole battalion of our most technologically advanced tank tanks we said we would never send to Ukraine. Now we are. Here's Joe Biden.
Today, I'm announcing that the United States will be sending 31 Abrams tanks to Ukraine, the equivalent of 1 Ukrainian battalion. Secretary Austin has recommended this step because it will enhance the Ukraine's capacity.
Wish the USA would stop sending money to Ukraine and weapon. Face it, they can't win the war. Dude, here's my curiosity. We can keep sending money and military equipment to Ukraine. Sure, fine, okay. You can argue about that all day. Every day, invariably, Ukrainians are dying. Ukrainian military men are dying. Russia has a lot more military men than Ukraine does. No doubt about that. And I would speculate based off of Russian military history that Russia is more than willing to just keep sending more and more and more and more and more men until it's over, or until they get their way. And so my question is, what happens when enough Ukrainians have died that there are no more Ukrainians willing to fight? What happens when there are no Ukrainians willing to fight? Because if we're going down the war of attrition approach, where it's just human lives versus human lives, I think that the USSR, I think that Russia probably wins that, despite Ukraine having a lot more resources behind them.
To defend its territory and achieve its...
Yeah, it's like so is the answer that it's NATO troops? Is it American troops get involved? Is that where we're heading?
Strategic objectives.
So Germany, Poland, and the UK are also sending tanks to Ukraine. So what was going on here? Well, in a meeting of the Council of Europe yesterday, Germany's foreign minister casually mentioned that NATO has, in effect, declared war on Russia. Here's Annalena Baerbock explaining that World War III is already underway.
I've said already in the last days, yes, we have to do more to defend Ukraine. Yes, we have to do more also on tanks.
Germany almost took over the entire world. Pretty sure Ukraine can beat Russia. What? What's the thought process behind that comment? What? I don't even know what compels you to post that. Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
But the most important and the crucial part is that we do it together and that we do not do the blame game in Europe, because
Yo,
we are
Val.
fighting a war against Russia and not against each other.
Thank you.
She's
Dankeschön.
in charge. Now, you hate to go with cheap historical analogies, but since this conflict has been framed since day one by our idiot class as a replay of World War
knowledge. Who wins in a 1v1 fight, polar bear versus grizzly bear in a snowy forest?
Oh, polar bear. Bro, a polar bear would fuck a grizzly bear. It's not even close. Literally not even a contest. Polar bear.
II. It is fair to point out, it's been a long time since the Germans sent tanks into Ukraine. Didn't work well last time, probably won't this time either. But that's what NATO is planning, apparently. As numerous Biden officials have said in recent weeks, the goal is to take back Crimea. Now, wait a second. At the beginning, they said, let's just push Russia back to pre-February 2022 borders. That seemed kind of reasonable to most people, including us. But taking Russian Crimea from Russia, its essential port, well, Russia has said many times, and there's every reason to believe them, that would lead to nuclear war. But that's the new plan? Was this voted on? That's truly crazy. And to do it, we're enlisting one of the most corrupt governments in the world. Several senior officials in Ukraine, including the deputy defense minister and the top prosecutor, have resigned because they were too corrupt even for Zelensky. Now, where'd all that money come from? It's a country at war. It's been at war for almost a year. Well, the money came from us because Congress has never audited the money, the billions in your tax dollars sent to Ukraine. This is nuts, but no one in Washington seems...
Crimea is not Russian. I mean, here's the thing about territory, right? I feel like land belongs to whoever, like this is just the cold hard truth. Land belongs to whoever is willing to fight and die for it. Okay? So you can argue about Crimea all day. If Russia's line in the sand is, if you touch Crimea, we're going to start dropping nukes. Tough situation.
Seems to care. Now, we hate to pick on former CIA Director Mike Pompeo. He's a nice enough guy. But it's hard to resist responding to this. Here's Pompeo telling us that you have a moral obligation to give Zelensky everything he wants.
We should be helping America. And helping America means a sovereign nation that is prepared to defend itself from an invasion and an attack where civilians are being killed by Vladimir Putin is in America's best interest for our economy, for our security. We should be doing everything the Ukrainians are asking us to do.
Love it. True. Preach. True.
We should do everything the most corrupt government in Europe wants us to do. Everything, because that's good for America. Really? That's the most important thing we can do for America? And we don't mean to beat up on poor Mike Pompeo. But, I mean, are you serious? What about the armies of drug zombies smoking fentanyl in every major city? Should we do something like that? You're San Francisco right now.
That's
hey,
good.
bro, put that away, man. You got kids walking out here, man.
This is okay. This is good. Oh, God.
Dude, really? You're shooting in your neck, bro?
Nah, that's a San Fran.
That's crazy. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's what he said.
What are you doing? Come on, man. You bucks.
Just gonna skip these videos. Nice one, Tucker.
So, again, if you had a to-do list of things to do for America, that might rate higher than sending more money to Zelensky. And you might also, since you were trying to help America, as Pompeo said, you might do something with the fact our southern border has been completely overrun by foreign nationals, millions of them shepherded through into our country by the Mexican drug cartels. But that's not the most important thing in Washington.
Dude, I don't think that the USA ever gets like militaristically invaded. I don't think there's ever a military invasion of the US. What I think probably okay. If anything is to happen, I think it would probably be just like a slow deterioration, a slow degeneration, a slow collapse, a balkanization. It'd be a balkanization, and I think it would be on the back of just like millions and millions of endless immigrants and refugees and migrations, and yeah, I think it would just sort of peter out, really. I don't think there's going to be like a fucking D-Day style. China is going to be like driving boats up on the Californian beaches and offloading millions of soldiers onto the. Yeah, I don't think so.
The single most important
I think it's
thing
a slow
we can do
death.
is send
It's
Ukraine
a slow
whatever it
rot.
wants to take back Crimea. Subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel to catch our nightly opens, stories that are changing the world and changing your life. From Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, and I think we're actually probably a little bit ways into that rot. I think the rot is spreading. Yeah, I wonder. It'll be curious if in my life, if in our lives, I'm 29, if we'll see the balkanization of the U.S. If we'll start seeing states or regions or areas of the U.S. Secede or separate. Because you look at the way things are right now. What is the way out? Like I think there's two ways, and I say this because I look back at history, right? I think history doesn't repeat itself, but it definitely rhymes. History is reminiscent of itself, and you see two trends. You see just a slow, pittering death where things just decay to the point of being unrecognizable, or you see authoritarian uprisings, right? And so maybe those are you see authoritarian strongmen. You see a strongman rise up and try to salvage the situation. And so I don't know, dude. Which way do we go? Who knows? But yeah, I do think things are not looking particularly good. Yo, what's going on CNN? Show me the CNN military coup, bro. Can I say this and still be an American patriot? Can I say this and still be an American nationalist? Have you seen the military lately? Have you seen a lot of the problems that our military has been having lately? Things are not like our military is not insulated from a lot of the problems that we've been having in this country. Totally not at all. Totally not at all. All right, Putin, what's going on, bro? What's the problem?
Tonight, massive missile attack. Putin launching 55 missiles across Ukraine as the Kremlin threatens the U.S. and its allies. Putin's top spokesperson saying sending Abrams and other tanks is, quote, direct involvement in the war. As the Pentagon says that the United States will be sending an updated Abrams tank to Ukraine, the M1A2, which is fully digital and allows for commanders and gunners to more easily scan and identify targets. Today's escalation of words and the barrage of missiles coming as CNN is learning that the war is intensifying in the south now. You're looking at new video from the city of Marinka. You can see multiple fires raging, smoke blanketing the city. And Fred Pleiken is out front. He is outside Bakhmut, where some of the fiercest fighting continues to rage tonight.
Ukraine's tanks taking aim at the invading Russians. Kiev's forces rallying to try to halt the massive assault on Bakhmut. The city, where there are still some 6,000 civilians, has become a cauldron of fire.
From this vantage point, you can both see and hear just how fierce the fighting is. You can hear impacts from heavy weapons not just every minute, but literally every second. The Ukrainians say that the Russians are pouring a massive amount of...
It's hell, bro. You know what's crazy? You know what's like particularly crazy about the war in Ukraine? I think a lot of Western worlders, a lot of Americans, a lot of especially Europeans have been totally like detached from the naturalistic order of the world. How chaotic and violent it is. We're like, oh, we're here in the Western world. We are beyond war. Like we are. That's a war. That's an archaic thing, right? And you know who's in that town right now getting fucking blown up? You. Like literally a 25-year-old white dude, a European white dude is right there getting a fucking Iranian $15 bomb dropped on his head. You. Pretty much like war is not good. And you look at the Ukraine situation, it's a fucking powder keg, bro. Like we are a moment's notice from personally being involved in this. You are a moment's notice from personally going to, from picking up a gun and going and doing something. The second something crazy pops off.
Personnel and weapons into this area because they seem to want to take Bakhmut at nearly any cost.
There are plenty of regular Russian troops fighting around Bakhmut now, but the Ukrainians say it's still the Wagner private military company that's leading the charge, with waves of fighters trying to storm Ukrainian positions both north and south of the city, as well as specialized forces like these snipers claiming to have killed a Ukrainian soldier. All I could see was a curtained window, the sniper says. The person who was paired with me saw a thermal outline, and I just determined where to shoot. Wagner's boss, Yevgeny Prigozhin, often touts his militia's successes, but the cost is immense. This is a Wagner cemetery in the Krasnodar region of southern Russia. Row after row of fresh graves, a disposable force used to take just a few kilometers of land. Wagner acknowledges recruiting prisoners straight out of jail and throwing them on the battlefield with minimal training and only slim chances of survival. That same indifference shown in Russian strikes that kill and maim Ukrainian civilians every day. These folks are cleaning up after a Russian missile landed in their neighborhood.
It's like, go fight in Ukraine or keep chipping rocks in the gulag. What do you choose? I was reading the other day that Russia right now has, what, 500,000 male prisoners. And so the idea is that there's a 500,000 prisoner reserve that they can potentially pull from, and they're making deals. Okay, go fight, you get out of prison. You make it out alive, you're a free man. Go, you're free now.
Near Bakhmut. We were getting heating from the heating plant, which was hit, Yuri tells me. Yesterday at 3 o'clock it was destroyed, so now we have no electricity, no heating, we have nothing. And a few miles away, one person was killed in another densely populated area.
Some of the long-distance drones and missiles that Russia uses to attack Ukraine come down right near civilian areas.
Look at that.
This year
Holy
is
fuck,
only
that's
a
a
few
playground.
yards away from a kindergarten. However, others are used to directly target critical infrastructure.
More than 50 missiles fired just on Thursday, and while many of them were intercepted by Ukrainian air defenses, some were not brought down, adding to the daily toll of destruction. The missile terror.
Yesterday, my hardcore character died because electricity went off because of Russian missiles, for fuck's sake. Bro, you should be lucky. You should be happy your real life hardcore character is not over. I.e., your fucking real life.
More motivation for Ukraine soldiers around Bakhmut to stand their ground and bring Vladimir Putin's invasion to a standstill.
And Aaron, it's certainly some really brutal fighting that we witnessed around Bakhmut today. The Ukrainians say that the Russians are trying to encircle that city, and obviously, as you can see there, the Ukrainians themselves trying to do their best to stop that from happening. Meanwhile, the president, Vladimir Zelensky, he came out today and ripped into those missile strikes that the Russians once again conducted, calling for more air defense weapons, but of course, generally calling for more modern weapons from the West. He also praised the soldiers from the Ukrainian forces that are fighting here in Donetsk in the east of the country, saying that if they make a stand here, they could seriously deplete the combat power that...
Do you remember the Reddit Legion? This is when the war first broke out a year ago. You had Redditors that were volunteering to go fight in Ukraine. Do you remember those fucking doofuses?
Russia has available on other fronts.
Those fucking ding-dongs are like taking
Fred,
selfies.
thank you very much.
Dude, they were taking selfies and posting them on Reddit, and then Russia was like geolocating their location based off of the selfies and just fucking bombing them. They're like pulling the EXIF data off the photos posted on Reddit and then bombing them because they've now leaked their location. Nice.
Just outside Bakhmut tonight. And I want to go down to the Russian investigative journalist Andrei Soldatov. He is the author of The Compatriots, the Russian exiles who fought against the Kremlin. And Andrei, you've got some new reporting here as Fred's talking about the Wagner group and them and still playing that central and kind of tip of the spear role near Bakhmut. You're reporting it's not just Wagner that's recruiting prisoners to aid in the Russian war effort, that this now goes much deeper, that the official Russian state is doing this as well. What did you discover?
Yes, it looks like the Russian military factories are suffering from acute shortages in workforce. Even Uralvagonzavod, which is the largest tank factory in the country, reported the lack of employees. So now they're going to use Russian convicts, and Russian convicts are already fighting on the battlefield in Ukraine. So now we're going to help to manufacture all these tanks and weaponry.
So the formal state, Russian state, recruiting convicts to build the tanks. And now to this point of your reporting, I want to play some.
Dude, if I'm making like a modern war D&D character and I have 10 stat points and I can allocate those points between drones and tanks, bro, I'm spending all 10 points on drones. I'm spending zero points on tanks. I'm going all in, all 10 on drones, drone bombs. That's what we're doing.
Thing that Putin said recently that speaks to what you're saying about the terrible state of the Russian defense industry right now. Here he is.
Given that the defense industry is now overburdened, and given that you work in 3 shifts, and there is a high demand for military industrial products, we are now considering the possibility of granting deferment also to those who must be called up for compulsory military service.
So sounds like from what he's saying, they've offered anybody, you're going to come help us build the tanks and fix the defense supply problem, we'll defer your military service. But what you're reporting is that's not enough. They're still not able to get people to do it?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, they started promising protection from mobilization and the service in the army already in October. They also promised pensions, some good benefits, employment for the whole families in some cases.
Amazing. Yeah, breaking news. Country at war is doing everything they possibly can do to win. Shocking. Tucker Carlson. Should pedophiles be chemically castrated? Here we go.
Democrats 30 years ago would be shocked at what has happened to their party. If they could fast forward decades, they wouldn't recognize it. All of a sudden, the party as a party is aggressively sexualizing children, not just drag queen story hours, not just the mutilation of children, sexual mutilation, the gender ideology.
Here's the take that I get banned for today. Here's the daily maybe get banned take. If you are a convicted pedophile, you're not getting chemically castrated. You're getting chemically executed. Okay, like if you're convicted, if you are guilty, you're done. That's it. We're not castrating. We're executing.
But pushing graphic sexualization in schools on little kids, and at the same time, many of our leaders are refusing to punish pedophiles. So Stephanie Lord is a state representative in New Mexico and has noticed this, and she's tried to get a couple of bills passed that punish child sex abusers, and they've been rejected by Democrats. So now she has a new idea. Her idea is chemical castration isn't just for kids. How about doing it to pedophiles too? Stephanie Lord is a New Mexico state representative. She joins us tonight. Stephanie, thank you so much for coming on. So rather than have us characterize your idea, if you wouldn't mind explaining what it is.
Thank you, Tucker. It's an honor to be on your show, and I'm very grateful to be here, and I'm glad you're giving me this opportunity to talk about this. So I want to make something really clear in New Mexico. The majority of people in our state are moderate Democrats, but unfortunately we've got some progressive Democrats that are pushing forward some radical ideology. So my first session when I was up here, there was quite a few bills to be soft on criminals, let criminals out, give them special things that they wouldn't normally have. So I kept presenting amendments that said, okay, well, you want to let the criminals out early. How about not pedophiles? How about we don't be nice and don't give them special treatment? Yeah, how about that? And so I even presented an amendment about let's not let them cut children's hair, because that idea actually disgusts me, to have them put their hands on children. And every amendment I presented was shot down, literally. So it really got me thinking, so what can I do? What is something that I can do in this next session when I got reelected? What can I do? And I happened to see this bill in Tennessee that was based off the Alabama bill on chemical castration. I looked at it, I thought, this is a great idea. This is a way to, a tool that we can use to keep these pedophiles away from our children. That's all that I wanted. That's all I ever wanted out of this.
So I'm confused. So are we having pedophiles that have not actually assaulted a kid, sexually assaulted a kid, coming out publicly saying, hey, I'm a pedophile, but I haven't done anything bad yet? Are these the people that we should chemically castrate? Or are we talking about chemically castrating pedophiles that are convicted felons and they actually have done something bad already other than having these thoughts? Because I guess maybe I'm out of touch. I have a hard time believing that you're having pedophiles come out and talk about their pedophilic tendencies openly. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're there yet. We might be soon, but I don't think we're there yet. Because I'll default to my point 2 minutes ago. Yeah, dude, listen, okay, if we've got a convicted pedophile, we know they did it, they pleaded innocent. We know it's them. It's whatever the fuck. We've got beyond reasonable doubt. We know it's them. Yeah. Why are we talking about anything other than chemically executing? Let's flash forward to the chemically executing part of this.
So have you considered calling it puberty blockers? If you did that, maybe every Democrat in New Mexico would vote for it.
That's a great idea. Well, that is what's frustrating. It's the few progressives that we have, because we have some actually really good Democrats, but
I know.
The progressive ideology has taken over, and it's frustrating because I was a Democrat until 1997. I don't even recognize the party anymore. But yeah, you know, the whole goal for me, I'm very passionate, and it comes from my heart. I just don't want pedophiles to get any special treatment or to be allowed early out of prison.
Well, I've got to think, I know New Mexico, and you're right, it's a very moderate state, mostly Democrats. I would think the majority of people in New Mexico, the voters, would be in favor of this.
Yes, I think the voters are definitely in favor of this, because I don't know anybody that's on the side of pedophiles. The problem is that
I think that demographic is growing, people that are on the side of pedophiles. I hate to say it, but I think that demographic is actually growing these days.
I have more leeway on my side of the party. I can disagree with my party all day long, and I do. They'll tell you that. If I don't feel that something is correct or right for my district, I won't vote for them. But I think there's more of a push on their side where they have to align, and it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
So I think they got some pushback on that, and that's really unfortunate. That's really, really unfortunate.
Amazing. Amazing. I actually remembered the video that I wanted to watch. I wanted to watch Sunny V2's video talking about some of the most controversial guests that Joe Rogan has had, or some of the biggest arguments that Joe Rogan has had on his podcast. Sunny V2 makes actually very good videos going over sort of internet history type of content. So let's watch the Sunny V2 video about Joe Rogan.
With almost 2,000 episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience, it's no surprise that there have been a couple of pretty heated arguments. And we're going to kick the video off by looking at one between Joe...
What did Crowder say about weed? It really pissed off Joe Rogan. What did he say? He was shitting on weed. And you can imagine. Is this too loud for you guys, by the way? Is this too loud or what?
And we're going to kick the video off by looking at one between Joe and a guest by the name of Candace Owens, who initiated the conflict after stating in a very smug way that humans don't need to care for the environment because climate change doesn't exist.
You don't think we have to care about the environment? Like, what do you...
No, not even a little bit. Like,
not even a little bit?
No. Okay, let me clarify this. I don't throw trash on the ground. Like, okay. I'm not saying, like, we need to, like, you know, trash the environment, like, but do I believe in climate change? No.
Joe pushed back on this.
Okay, I think she expressed herself in the most retarded way possible. I think you can say, yeah, we need to care about the environment, okay? Once again, I don't want trash on the ground. I don't want oil being spilled in our fucking swimming hole, okay? I don't want oil in the lake. I don't want... At the same time, I question the impact of anthropogenic... I question the degree to which anthropogenic involvement in the environment is causing issues. Okay, like that is to say, I question humans' impact on climate change. I question how severely we impact climate change. I think that's a reasonable stance to have, but I think she probably expressed herself in the dumbest way possible.
This initial statement by arguing that the topic was incredibly complex and that maybe Candace wasn't in a position to make this claim. Things became even worse when Jamie brought up a website to support Joe's side.
Have I read about the subject? Yeah, dude. Actually, prior to being a streamer, I went. Sorry, a car drove by. I went to 3 years of. I was actually getting. A lot of you guys know this. I was getting an environmental biology degree, an environmental science degree, and then I pivoted towards a microbiology degree. But I wasted 3 years of my life studying environmental science, then I pivoted towards microbiology.
Of the argument.
The vast majority, 87% of scientists, said that human activity is driving global warming.
Yeah, I don't believe this, like, at all, just so you know.
Which resulted in Candace implying that...
What does this say? Hold up. 77% of scientists said climate change is a serious problem. 87% of scientists said that human activity is driving global warming.
This, like, at all, just so you know.
Which resulted in Candace implying that they were specifically searching for data to support what Joe already believed.
I guess look up the opposite. right? Instead of looking for what
But
you're
wait a
searching
minute,
for,
but
looking for what
why?
you're not looking for.
I didn't search for it. That's what I found when I searched it.
Joe then doubled down on just how detrimental the climate situation could be.
This could negatively impact all sorts of coastal cities. This could be a gigantic problem. This is not...
Can we have a quick talk about the rising sea levels thing? Chat, since we started measuring sea levels in the early 1800s, has sea level risen at all? Has it risen? It seems to not be the case. I'm getting old enough to remember. I'm 29 now. In my very short life, I'm old enough to remember. Dude, I remember watching. This was the big movie when I was a kid. The year was 2000 or 2001 or something, when Al Gore dropped An Inconvenient Truth. Dude, it would be so cool. Chat, one of these days, we're going to watch An Inconvenient Truth. This was the environmental, sort of climate emergency documentary of 2002, 2001, posted by Al Gore. Put it together, talking about how by the year like 2012, the ice caps are going to be completely gone. We should go back and watch that and see how true all of this has become. Because what I think has happened, I think climate and the way climate changes is incredibly nuanced and incredibly hard to predict and incredibly hard to model for. It's so hard to make a fucking model to predict the climate, and it's really, really hard science. And you've seen these models change like every couple years. You'll pick a doomsday date. By 2012, this happens. By 2015, this happens. By 2020, this is happening. And it's just like every couple years, the models are altered, they're changed, they're readjusted. The doomsday is pushed back 2 or 3 years. And this has been going on like at a minimum my entire life. And I know it's been going on before that. And so I actually think it is fair to say, hey, listen, I question the validity and the veracity of the science here. And I think that's totally fair because it's changed so much over the last 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years since the 70s. And I question the degree that humans have on this. I think those are two totally scientifically sound questions and concerns to have. Totally 100%.
Like propaganda that's drummed up by some sort of big business that seeks to make money off of this.
Yet Candace showed no interest in changing her belief on the topic, escalating the conflict even further.
I don't believe it's real, okay? So I can't
But why,
sit here.
but here's the question, but why have a belief? Why have a belief as to whether or not global warming is real or not real?
Because
If
I
you
just
don't have a
find that
background-
That's one little tiny thing there. It's not even called global warming anymore. It used to, when I was a kid, it was called global warming. And we were talking about global warming and the ozone layer. The ozone layer is shrinking. We're burning a hole in the ozone layer. And and now we don't even talk about the ozone layer. The ozone layer, we fixed it or something. It's not even topical. And it's been retitled from global warming to climate change. I think you can say, listen, the climate is changing. Sure. To what degree do we have an impact? And I think we can have a talk about that, and we can. But I think this probably happened with COVID too, to some degree, where you have the scientific community making very specific, authoritative statements, saying this will happen if this. It's going to happen by this date, right? And they're making these predictions, they're giving these guidelines before you actually have the information. And when that date comes and that thing you predicted hasn't happened, what happens is you've eroded all trust. You're alienating people. There's because people notice this and say, hold up, you said by 2015 this was going to happen, or you said if you take the vaccine, you're not going to get COVID a year ago, and now we know that's not true. Because I got the vaccine and I got COVID. A lot of people have. And so it's like, hold up, why were you saying that a year ago? Or why did you say by this year that some island in the Pacific no one's ever fucking heard of with 13 different villagers living on it is going to be underwater, and they're not? What's going on here? Those islanders are totally fine. They're fishing and they're eating coconuts. They're having coconut sushi, okay? They're not dead. And It's like, well, actually, our models have been readjusted, and the doomsday, those islanders are going to be dead by 2025 now. It's like, hold up. At one point, is it okay to say, let's have a talk about this?
You don't understand
correct.
the science.
You are correct.
But why have a belief in it?
Right. So it's not a belief. It's not a belief in it. I don't believe in it.
Joe was eventually able to get Candace to admit that she didn't really know what she was talking about.
How about not have a belief until you really have
okay,
looked
so
at the
you
data?
would prefer if my language, as opposed to admitting that I do not know this, I wouldn't die until I've never made a video, I've never made a public statement. You would have preferred if I had just started by saying, I have no opinion.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. You say
But I said I didn't know.
No, you say I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
I don't believe in it. You're saying really clearly that you don't think it's real.
However, Eddie Bravo was significantly more stubborn, who found himself.
Dude, you know, I have a hard problem, dude. Like there are people that I know are probably like, there are people that are generally on my side of the aisle that I'm probably in 75-80% ideological alignment with. And they're just fucking retarded. And I think this is true for both. And so, like, the way Candace Owens is talking about this, like, I probably have ideologically a lot in common with her. I'm going to guess, maybe. More so than, like fucking Kamala Harris, for example, probably. But, like, God, Candace, if this is your job, if you're going to talk about this, if you're on the Joe Rogan podcast, fuck's sake, like, do, like, 30 minutes of, like, tertiary research. Like, think about this stuff before you go and make a fucking moron of yourself publicly.
In an argument with Joe after refusing to let go of the idea that the Earth was flat.
Show me a real picture. Show me a real picture. Listen, NASA does not have one of those satellites.
Fake.
Why does it look fake?
It looks like something you'd see in a movie.
That's because when they do it in a movie, they try to make it look like this, which is what looks real. Why would it be fake?
Propaganda, man.
After Eddie kicked off the argument by claiming that every round picture of the Earth is fake, Joe continued the conversation by requesting to see a legitimate photo of the flat Earth.
Is there a photo of this flat Earth?
No, I don't. Like I just said again.
That's what I
asked. There's no photo.
How would you have a photo of flat Earth when space is 1, fake, and 2, gay? Did it even occur to you, Joe Rogan, that space is gay? Did you even think about that?
Of the flat Earth from space. There's no photo of the round Earth from space.
That's not true. That's not true.
It's all fake.
No, why do you say they're fake, though?
They look fake. They look CGI.
But you're not an expert in imagery.
After being backed into a corner, Eddie made the argument that the sources Joe was using were being paid for to keep the conspiracy going.
Where did you get this information?
Jamie.
Where did you get it?
Where'd I get what?
This information. Where is this coming from?
This is coming off the internet.
Exactly. So you're reading some information. I'm reading some information off the internet. You didn't go to the library.
I love
it's on Wikipedia.
Eddie Bravo is what we call a based retard.
Eddie, stop doing
There's
that.
sources here. There's a book
Love
called
him.
the American Journal of
I
Science.
love
I'm
that
sure
guy.
a lot of people respect
Which is
that.
bought and paid for.
Well, maybe.
Why would anybody be paying money for people to lie about the world spinning?
Which was followed by Eddie stating that there was no evidence to confirm that the Earth was in fact spinning.
Eddie, people have known it's spinning forever. That's how the seasons
Gravity,
work.
baby.
That's how you see the sun. We spin around. That's why it
Okay,
makes
explain this
eclipses.
to me.
That's why you can
age,
track
too.
time zones. That's why you can put a piece of stick in the ground.
You're saying all the correct shit.
It acts as a sundial.
After over
You're saying
40
all the
minutes of
correct
back and
shit.
forth between the two, Joe completely lost it.
Eddie.
I used to say the same
Eddie,
stuff.
you're talking about the
I
Earth
said
being
this-
flat.
I'm
Thousands of
saying the
scientists
same
have
thing.
looked into it. You think they're all wrong? That's so insane.
You haven't looked into it.
I have.
No, you have.
Oh my God. How could I not have? You don't think I have? Eddie, there's websites dedicated to debunking it. There's so many people working on these things, Eddie. The idea that they're all in on some sort of a giant global lie is insane.
However, while this
Not a global lie, a flat Earth lie.
argument could certainly be dismissed as a
'Cause
bit
we're
of
on the
banter
flat
between
Earth.
two friends. The same can't be said for the argument between Joe and Matt Walsh, who began the heated exchange after claiming that gay marriage shouldn't be allowed, as it threatens the institution of traditional marriage.
But then why are you opposed to two gay people doing it?
Bro, here's another one. Like, Matt Walsh came off like a fucking moron here, too. Man.
It's not about choice. It's about what this institution, marriage is an institution, and what is it, and what purpose does it serve?
Joe then made the point that a gay marriage doesn't damage a straight marriage in any way.
I don't think gay people and gay...
No, Matt Walsh works for the Daily Wire, which is owned by Ben Shapiro and Ben Shapiro's friend. Yeah, that's where he works.
People getting married in any way, shape, or form changes a bond that you have with your wife.
To which Matt responded with the following point.
If marriage is not what I'm saying it is, why do we even need it? A thing that actually exists, which are man, woman couples creating babies.
But after Matt...
Bro, listen. Okay, Matt, let me make your point for you. Matt, all you have to say is that traditionally, marriage as we know it in the U.S. is a very specific Christian institution and Christian ritual. And I'm not comfortable with my religion's rituals and spiritual oaths being, oh, my headset's dying, being desecrated in this way. Now, if gay people want to have a, what's the alternative? Like a legal civil union with all of the benefits, of a legal benefits of a Christian marriage, then that's fine. But I'm not comfortable having it be called a marriage. I think that's such like, I'm not even expressing my own opinion with that, but that's such an easy argument to make, right? That's just like an easy, safe little dub.
Matt stated that the point of a marriage was for a man and a woman to make babies. Joe questioned the following.
If marriage is only for procreation and to bond a family together, what about people that are deeply in love that never want to have children?
I don't think it's not only procreation.
Right, but if people want to be married and don't want to ever have children, are you opposed to them being married?
I think this would be a couple that is rejecting one of the fundamental...
How does it say if it's just my fifis? Well, okay, I think when you're making arguments, the winner of the argument is who can convince the most people, like really. And so I think you look at the American populace. I think appealing to people's like religious sentimentality and appealing to religion in that way, I think people will. Yeah, it's an optics thing. I think that's an easy way to get like an optics and rhetorical W.
Aspects of marriage. They should be open to life. I would hope that in the future they would be.
It seemed as though Joe and Matt could have argued back and forth for hours on end. But what happens when Joe invites one of his haters onto the podcast? This is what happened with Brian Dunning, who had written an article claiming that Joe was one of 10 celebrities who promote harmful pseudoscience, in which he'd write, "Comedian Joe Rogan does what he can to promote virtually any conspiracy theory that he stumbles onto, apparently accepting them all uncritically with a wholesome embrace. He believes the Apollo astronauts did not land on the moon. He believes the US government was behind the 9/11 terrorist attacks. He believes the Oliver Stone version of the Kennedy assassination. He believes that aliens crashed at Roswell in 1947 and the government is covering it up." Joe, if you're gonna put...
All right, let's go through all of these. He believes the Apollo astronauts did not land on the moon. This is an interesting one. I don't know if you guys know that. Like this is true. NASA lost the original moon landing tapes. They don't have them, and so I think, as far as I know, the conspiracy is that NASA like refilmed the moon landing on a set, and then those are the tapes that we saw, but that they actually did land on the moon. But that's the conspiracy as I understand it. I think the moon landing thing for me, like I actually believe in the moon landing because the USSR never contested it, and I feel like given how heated things were during the moon landing days, the USSR would have every motivation to debunk it and say that we're lying about it, but they didn't. They accepted it. And you know they looked into it. You know they must have looked into it, right? And so I'm like, okay, if our biggest mortal enemy, who is competing directly with us, let us have that W, then we probably got that W, right? Dude, I need to charge my headset or something. Let me see here. I don't know the Oliver Stone version of the Kennedy assassination, but by the way, the CIA did it. I don't think that's any conspiracy. The CIA killed Kennedy, right? Yeah. Give me a true in the chat. The CIA killed this fucking guy. He believes aliens crashed at Roswell in 1947. I don't really know about that. I'm actually not a Roswell guy.
So much effort into promoting conspiracy theories and eroding what little rationality the public has left. At least have the courage to come forward with a cogent argument and well-sourced evidence instead of the lameness of "I'm just the guy asking questions." Take the responsibility. Joe would take this responsibility by inviting Dunning onto the podcast, which resulted in a 3-hour back and forth arguing about everything, beginning with conspiracy theories.
Well, it's just factually...
Okay, listen. I need to go get a charger cable from my room upstairs. I will be back in 90 seconds. I got to figure this out. Do not go anywhere. I'll be right back. Oh, behave yourselves. Okay, here's the problem. Dude, I left my fucking heads upstairs. Okay, here is the problem. I bought this new headset. It's good. I love it. It's great. But the fucking charging cable is like 2 feet long. And so I can't have it plugged into my computer and charge it and wear it at the same time. But I've got a mobile battery bank. I think I can probably plug this in here, have this sitting in my lap, and have this charging. And have this work, probably. Is this scuffed? Yeah, this is super fucking scuffed. Is this gonna work? Okay, I don't hear any audio. Hold up. I don't hear anything right now. Sound settings. Hold up. I'm gonna turn this off and I'm gonna turn it on. Please work, please work, please work, please work. Okay, please work. Please work. You hear me? Good. I just can't hear anything. Okay, it's playing out of my iPhone speakers right now, or my my fucking webcam speakers. I mean, maybe I just have to do that. Maybe I just have to do that for a couple minutes. Maybe. Please work, buddy. Hey, buddy. It's definitely charging. Maybe I just have to let this charge for like 2 or 3 minutes. Then once again, it's a little it totally died, right? So I give it a quick rejuice. It totally charges. I flip it back on, and we're good. Maybe. Yeah, if it's not on, then the audio output is all fucked up. Let's chill for like 2 or 3 minutes here, and then we can keep going. I think it's so dead. It's got to take a charge for a couple minutes. Probably. Are we charging? I'm just going to double check this fucking thing is charging. Okay, yeah. Orange light equals charging. Yes. All right, charge. Amazing. How long do we have? 50 minutes? You know what? That's okay. That's actually okay with me. If we end in 50 minutes, That's okay. Dude, what a cozy stream. What a cozy, great little Power Gum subathon. Great. The Europeans are waking up. Who do we have in the chat here today? We have Mr. Buddy Spike 21. Hey, yo. We have Matt Garlic. We have Polly Ice Cream 95. We have, you know what these segments do, where we're like having these kind of talks. It really, these sort of discussions, these sort of streams. How can we refer to these? It's sort of the great filter. It's a vetting process. Yeah, true. We're splitting the what's the idiom? The wheat from the chaff, whatever it is, the chaff from the shaft, whatever the I'm not a farmer. Whatever the fuck that is. Well, that's what we're doing, okay? That's what we're doing. Waiting for the stream to No, listen, this is good. I just want my headset to work. I'm going to try to flip this thing on again. Hold up. Flip on. Do not be shy. Okay, please. All you have to do, open up sound settings, and I should see it right here. But I don't. So I don't know what the goddamn... is it registering in Discord? Let me see. Voice and video. No. Maybe it like because it died, it unpaired with the Bluetooth. Bluetooth settings. Yeah, it might be yeah, that's probably what it is. Hold up. Add device, Bluetooth. All right, come on. Show me the V-Moda. It's called the V-Moda headset. Come on. There's a lot of devices somehow. I'm ready to pair. I don't see it. I don't even see it. It's not even here. Well, chat, I don't know what to do about this. I don't know if this headset even like has a pairing mode. I don't think there's a pairing mode. Let me flip a switch here real fast. I'm gonna flip it off and flip it back on. Oh, that I'm trying to use it while charging. The problem is the second it died, like it actually died, I've got it plugged in. It's guaranteed charging now. The problem is that it's now that it's back on, it is not connected to my computer at all in any capacity. Is the big problem. I'm sorry we have to do this this troubleshooting thing. Maybe, dude, maybe if the headset is charging, do you think it's possible that if the headset is charging, that its Bluetooth is disabled? If charging, then no Bluetooth. Is that a possibility here? There's one more flip I can switch. One more switch I can flip. Do I see it? Do you think that's actually a thing? Bro, this is a fucking 350. If that's the case, then I don't know what we're going to do about 24-hour streams. This headset might limit my streams to being like 16 hours long, however long I've been live. 18 hours. We might be limited to 18 hours in the future. Buy two? Yeah. Maybe I'm going to have to buy two of these things. That's not fun. Just get a longer cable. Well, no, the problem is, like, it's charging now. The problem is, if it's charging, I think the Bluetooth doesn't work. Let me actually pull up my phone. Where's my cell phone? Because I know I can connect it to my cell phone, too. Let me see if it even registers for my phone. Oh, my phone's dead. Let me try other phone. Oh, that's good. Just everything is going wrong right now. That's great. I pull out my phone is fucking dead too. That's good. Luckily, we've got backup. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Let me see. Can I connect to it with my phone now? Sorry, boys. New headset problems. Yeah, I don't think it's going to let me connect. Well, the thing is, it's been charging now for probably 5 minutes as we're sitting here talking. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to unplug the charging cable, and we're going to see if it pops up. We're going to see if it pops up as a pairing option as I unplug the charging cable. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, now it's on. Oh, it's back. Okay, yeah, the second I unplug it, it actually auto...
Conspiracy theories.
Well, it's just...
Yeah, it's back. Shit. Okay, now that it's on, I don't know, let me try to plug it back in. Maybe it's going to let me use this while charging. Please. Don't be a bitch about this. Come on. We going to work?
It's factually inaccurate on so many different levels. I don't understand why you wrote it like that. Like,
bro, this is...
I do.
Before eventually concluding with...
And now it works. Oh, this is so fucking cringe. Dude, okay. If the headset is charging, it doesn't work. Oh, man. That is fucking annoying. Yeah, you know what? Maybe it is trying to connect through USB. Let me plug this short-ass tiny cable. I mean, dude, hold up. Bro. Chat, is this a common charging cable? Hold up. Let me show you guys. I've got an old ass iPhone. Is this a common cable? Is this a common port that everything else uses? Okay. Dude, maybe Kathy has a longer... I don't know. Hey, do androids use these things? Like, we might just have another one of these sitting around the house. Dude, how annoying they do. Maybe I can go Ninja Loot Kathy's. But before that, let me it doesn't matter unless you understand the logic here. Okay, what I'm going to do is plug this short cable into the USB socket into the computer and see if, while it's charging, now that it's plugged into the computer, if I can still use it for the computer. Like maybe it's trying to default its connection from Bluetooth through the USB port. So let me try that. If it's not, then it's not going to let me. It doesn't matter how long the cable is. If this doesn't work, it doesn't matter how long the cable is. Let me see here. All right, I'm gonna get down. I'm getting down here. We'll see. All right. Does it work? Doesn't work. No.
Diet and alcohol.
No. It's not correct. That's not the way the body works. That's not the way that...
No. You know what, though? I'm just going to let this thing charge. We're going to give it like 20 minutes. And I actually have some very faint, shitty speakers that I can hear out of. I'm going to set the outbound to Asus VG. Okay, hold up. Chat, you know, we can actually recover this. We can salvage this. Give me one moment, please. Holy fuck, this is scuffed. Advanced. I have to go into... Oh, you know what? I actually can't change audio outbound midstream. I have to restart the stream to do it. I think that's a thing. I'm going to try this. But this is probably not going to work. My guess is this is not going to work. Desktop audio. It's, what is this called? Never comes back. Asus VG247. Okay, hold up. Yeah, there it is. All right, please work.
But that can prevent you from getting drunk. You're...
Do you hear that? Do you hear that?
I'm sorry. You are against all reasonably established science.
Do you hear that?
And you're trying to make a buck off of people potentially getting
Do
killed.
we hear
and I
that?
had a huge problem with that to the point I had to turn the show off.
However, if we're on the topic of diet,
You can hear it. Is the audio fine? Is that fine? I think it's actually coming out of my monitor speakers. It's perfect. Okay. So we can actually continue. We're good. We can continue. We're going to let my headset charge for 20-30 minutes. And then I'll just put the headset back on. Okay? Holy fuck, this is rough. Okay. We're good. Oh my God. Crisis averted. Crisis averted, boys. Thank you for sticking around. Sorry about that. Crisis averted, boys. Let's play the video. God damn, that's annoying. Sorry, guys.
and alcohol, then we have to look at the Joe Rogan Experience number 1267, which became one of Joe's most heated episodes after two opposing diet specialists began to argue about nutrition.
To this energy. No, Gary, you talked for a long time, and I'm going to talk for as long as I want now.
Throughout the whole episode, the two guests were continually mocking each other in a very subtle way.
How does the brain regulate that?
I didn't say it regulated that.
Gary, hold on. That's fascinating. But how does the brain do that?
Which accompanied other segments where the guests made it very obvious that they hated each other.
Data are very clear on that, Gary. So
No.
Yes, they are. Look, we have data.
We can't say things like that, Stefan, because we're going to disagree on what the data say.
Let's move on. You think they ate mostly fish. That's incorrect, okay, according to the data. I remember you saying that in your book, something to that effect.
Stefan, read what you've got in my book. Read what I say.
Anyway.
Just read what I say.
Let's go on.
We don't have to argue about it. Read what I say.
I'm going to move on here.
The adversity between the two guests became so great that Joe had to intervene on more than one occasion.
Gary, I really continue to get the feeling that you do not understand human energetics, because that's not how it works.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
He doesn't really host debates like this anymore, does he? He doesn't bring on two contradictory opinions and just let them duke it out. This is more of like an old school Rogan thing. These days, it's like much more tame than this.
10 calories stored in the fat tissue. That's
10
just
calories.
mathematics.
10 calories.
I didn't say anything about
Gary,
how much you have to eat.
I'm not done.
Okay, no, but you're insulting me,
Gary.
Stefan. You got to stop doing that, dude.
Gary.
You keep acting like you think I'm an idiot.
All right, are you done now? Are you done?
Can we be clear that we're talking about...
Are you done now?
Can I just finish this?
No, you can't until I am done. Gary, you have time to respond.
You can respond, write down notes on what you want to respond to, and after he's done, you can...
Yeah, but we're going to get into a long discourse on something that's not the point.
Well, let's find out if it is the point. We don't know what he's going to say.
Thank you. Okay.
But despite this, the two diet experts failed to agree on almost anything.
What do you disagree with?
Well, virtually everything.
As we've seen so far, Joe Rogan is pretty good at keeping his cool whenever things get spicy. However, in a recent episode with Dave Portnoy, Joe struggled to keep his cool after Dave stated that Tommy Fury wasn't a real boxer.
I saw Tommy Fury box. He is not a boxer.
Well, he's definitely a boxer.
Well, he puts on gloves.
He's definitely a boxer.
Dave went on to make the point that Tommy was only famous due to his brother's name.
We would not know who Tommy Fury was if his last name wasn't Fury.
Probably we wouldn't know as much about him.
I don't.
But he's still a good-looking guy. He's built great. He looks
well,
like
he
looks the part.
Looks the part.
And while the conversation was somewhat amicable in the beginning, the tension escalated after Jamie pulled up a video of Tommy Fury's boxing.
Look at this. Look at this. He's fighting a professional boxer. The guy's fighting looks good. Dude, you're crazy if you don't think Tommy Fury's a boxer.
Chat. I need to sign up for BJJ classes. It is on my personal agenda to start training BJJ. Just like at a minimum, like one class a month. One night a month. Not BJ. Now, I'm not going to take BJ classes. I tried. I tried to call your mom because she's the one that teaches the classes, but she's all booked up. She teaches BJ classes 24/7 all day, and so I couldn't get a slot with her. So I had to settle for BJJ classes, and I think I'm going to do it just once a month. Okay, just to wet my whistle a little.
Look at that uppercut. Watch this.
Find the Tommy Fury. Find the Tommy Fury fight. Can you find me the record?
Watch this. Stop. Watch this. Watch this. Look at this. You're out of your mind if you don't. Look at this.
What
look at that right hand.
That was in slow motion.
No, it's not in slow motion.
I think you slowed
Why
that
is this
down.
guy such a hater? Why does he want to hate this guy so bad?
A legitimate professional boxer. If you don't think so, you're just being a hater.
The argument between Joe and Dave felt like it was coming from a fun perspective. However, Joe Rogan's argument with Adam Conover was significantly less friendly, which began when Adam stated that he saw nothing wrong with transgender.
This fucking guy. Bro, this is one of the slimiest, grossest, fucking soyed out, beta fucking morons on the planet. What did this guy do?
Joe Rogan's argument with Adam Conover was significantly less friendly, which began when Adam stated that he saw nothing wrong with transgender athletes.
Sports with trans athletes who are, competing with with their gender, right? That is a sporting world that I'm more interested in.
Joe responded to Adam's position by making the point that it's unfair for a biological man to compete against women.
If you're a woman and you're a natural woman and you don't take any extra hormones or male hormones, you're not taking steroids or any sort of performance-enhancing drugs, you're doing your very best to compete and you're at the top of the heap. But then someone comes along that was a man for 30 years and decides that they're going to be a woman, and this has happened, and literally transitioned a few months ago, and competes as a woman and destroys records and dominates you in that sport. That's not competing on a level playing field. It's not fair. It's as much cheating as taking steroids when the other person doesn't.
This is one of those topics. I am a Twitch streamer. I am operating within the confines of the Matrix, as people like to say these days. I would. Yo, Thomas just bought some power gum. Thomas, let me put on 10 minutes here. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much, Thomas. That's 10 minutes on the subathon timer. I would speculate, dude. I don't know where the public dialectic stands on this, especially on Twitch. I would speculate, completely hypothetically, not necessarily my own personal beliefs or opinions. In no way do I endorse this idea. I would speculate that if a streamer came out and said something to the effect of men can't give birth, I think they would get banned. I think they would get banned off of Twitch for expressing that opinion and doubling down on that. Not that that's my opinion or my belief, but hey, don't honk. That's not cool. So this is just one of those things.
I disagree, and
what do you disagree about?
I've already. Well, I don't think that there is such a thing as a perfectly level playing field. I think we decide what kind of playing field we want to have.
Sure, but we do make the distinction where.
What did you do? Let me take a look here.
Smile.
Who is that? Gnarl. Also H. Hey, thank you. Good morning. Good morning, guys. The gamers are waking up. Sancor. I got perma-banned in Hassan's chat for saying that even though he was talking about trans athlete for an hour and one counter argument, and he perma-banned me. Well, I mean, yeah. So this stuff is settled. You're not allowed to point out any inconsistencies. You're not allowed to argue. You're not allowed to point out any flaws. It's settled. It's over. And if you disagree, then you're a bigot and probably a racist. Somehow you're probably a racist also. Future, and you're literally Hitler, by the way. Future with the 5 gifted subs. With the 5 gifted subs. With the 5 gifted subs. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much.
We don't allow men to compete in women's divisions.
And I think that distinction may be breaking down a bit, right? And I think it may be time to break down that distinction a little bit.
So you think that males should be able to compete in the women's division of weightlifting?
No, I don't necessarily.
But they can if they transition.
Well, first of all, the
debate became even more heated after the two got onto the topic of transgender.
This isn't heated. He's just fumbling. He doesn't even know what he's saying. It's like he's like trying to. How can I put this? God, I'm sorry. I'm 20 hours in. I'm tired. He's trying to figure out what is the right thing to say. Not what is the correct thing to say, but per the agenda, what is the agenda right thing to say, right? That's what he's trying to figure out.
Children.
He's like trying to think back to the talking points, I think.
If you're shooting hormones into a child and you're affecting the child's development, you're saying that's not a choice. That's nonsense. Of course it's a choice. You're choosing to chemically change this child's body.
Which then turned into a weird debate about the existence of alpha males.
It's not scientific, but it is true that women are hardwired to be attracted to confident, athletic men.
I don't know if I agree with that. But
really?
Yeah.
But if you ask girls, like, what are you into? And you say, are you into tall, muscular, confident men who are also nice to you? Jesus Christ, it's going to be off the charts. It's going to be like most of them.
I'm really not sure that's the case.
Really?
However, at least Joe was sober for the Adam Conover debate, as alcohol was one of the main drivers for Joe's heated 2017 argument with Steven Crowder, which began with Steven stating that the legalization of weed has led to an increase in motor vehicle accidents.
Traffic fatalities regarding marijuana have skyrocketed.
Google that, because that's nonsense.
No,
you
we
know,
wrote about it
drunk driving arrests have dropped. What do you mean you've? First of all,
yeah, we wrote about what the sources are, the original studies.
Steven then tried to convince Joe that he didn't really care about the use of weed.
I don't care about it.
Yeah, you do.
I don't care.
You're the guy that thinks people should be able to do whatever. You're a free market guy,
that's
right?
what I just said.
So if you're a free market guy, why wouldn't you be in support of something, whether it's the most beneficial or equally beneficial? But you're not necessarily, because you're denying.
But because right now of the chemical,
which is followed by Joe mocking Steven for his attitude.
Things that are good and don't sure, man. Just like you don't sure turmeric, you don't sure ginger, you don't sure a reduced sugar diet. All those things that reduce inflammation are good for you.
I don't buy that smoking marijuana would be as beneficial as a reduced sugar diet.
After bringing up a study to support Joe's point, the following exchange ensued.
Joe Rogan is like, I actually think Joe Rogan is a pretty reasonable guy. God, I hate, because I don't even like Steven Crowder. Oh, God, I hate this. I'm not a big Crowder guy. I think Crowder is kind of just like unfunny and annoying. But man, like Rogan is a bong brain. If you question the merits of marijuana to Joe Rogan, he's gonna go fucking pitbull mode. He will become a pitbull.
Since marijuana legalization, highway fatalities in Colorado are at near historic lows.
You have him bringing up the source that you want to find.
Washington
Bring
Post.
up the study right there. Yeah, Washington Post. Bring up the study that we wrote. We wrote about it on our website.
Look, I don't care about your website. Since marijuana legalization, highway fatalities.
Well, Crowder is just a racist and an anti-Semite, so you don't have to hand him anything. Is that true? Is Crowder a racist and an anti-Semite, or are we just doing the thing where we just call people we don't like just whatever word you can come up with? Is he a racist and anti-Semite? That's new. I haven't heard that.
Fatalities in Colorado.
Okay. Since you called me
And after Joe sobered up the following day, he issued an apology for the way he acted during one of the most heated arguments in Joe Rogan history.
Yep. Someone questioned marijuana. You don't do that. You do not do that. What do you think of Andrew Tate snitching on himself? Andrew Tate is like the hot topic right now. Here's my thing. Super hyper TLDR Andrew Tate. I think for one true reasonable thing Andrew Tate says, I think there's 5 to 10 brain dead, retarded, unnecessary, wrong, hypocritical things he says. Okay, so I'm not gonna completely unilaterally disavow Andrew Tate. I'm gonna disavow like 90 or 95% of the shit he says. I think there's my biggest issue with Andrew Tate is the hypocrisy he has with his message and then also the way he lives. I think it's like if you are going to preach traditional masculinity, traditional femininity, how a man ought to behave, how a woman ought to behave, how those gender dynamics ought to manifest, if you're going to preach those messages and then at the same time operate a pornographic website peddling you're going to be peddling pornography, or you're going to be a pimp effectively. I think there's a high degree of hypocrisy going on here. So I don't know, Andrew Tate, but whatever. I'll be honest, I'm going to piss some people off when I say this. I think the Andrew Tate demographic are like young men that have never really had a strong male role model in their lives. In my ideal society, there wouldn't be Andrew Tates because these young men would just have good dads. They would just have dads. They'd have good, solid, foundational fathers. And then you wouldn't need people like Andrew Tate pumping out YouTube videos. You would just have a good dad when you're a young man, and he would raise you to be a good man. There. In my ideal society, we don't need Andrew Tates. Anyway, there's an Andrew Tate take. I don't, but in regards to what he did recently or snitched on himself or whatever, I have no idea what the fuck he did. I'm not really following Andrew Tate so closely. I have no idea. You want me to take a look? I'll take a look here. Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate. I don't think there's anything new. There's nothing new. I think we've seen everything with Andrew Tate, with the tater. But in society, do you think he provides value to young men? I think holistically, I think Andrew Tate probably does more damage to young men than he does good to young men. That's my firm stance. That's my firm belief. I think Andrew Tate does more damage than good for young men. That's what I think. I think there is an ounce of good. There is an ounce of good. But I think it's probably overshadowed by the negative aspects. That's what I think. That's what I think. Joe Rogan eviscerates. DM, do I need to look at this right now? Is this time sensitive? Okay. 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 I'm not going. We can probably talk about that later, right? Okay. I'm kind of sitting here waiting for my fucking headset to charge. Am I still playing Dragonfly? No, I'm not playing Dragonfly at all. No, I'm not. No. Let's see what Joe Rogan said here.
Let's talk about what happened over the weekend. You would think that CNN would know how to cover a story that happened in their own neighborhood. After all, their headquarters is in Atlanta. But Antifa decided that it would be a great idea to start making it impossible for the cops to open up a new academy, which was, by the way, was financed by their union. Didn't everyone want more training to reimagine police?
Yikes.
So they're upgrading training, they're upgrading equipment in Atlanta. By the way, this is what the governor's going to be speaking about in his State of the State address as Brian Kemp possibly keeps his eyes on national office.
You know one of the most bitch-made pussy things you'll hear about Antifa? You'll hear this take, it's like, actually, there is no Antifa. There's no Antifa leader. There's no Antifa organization. You're not allowed to talk about Antifa because there actually is no Antifa. They're just random people doing random things that are anti-fascists. They're just random anti-fascists. So you actually can't even talk about Antifa. It's like, yeah, cool, great take, love it, love the take, smart. You're smart.
Bigger than the one in Georgia.
Love it.
But as this violence ensues.
Anyway, someone is lighting buildings on fire and smashing windows and getting people killed. Anyway, though.
We were astounded here at our various locations that people were not pointing out that Antifa, full of privileged white kids, were having these coordinated attacks with flashbangs, some with firearms, massive arrests, that people weren't calling it as they see it, pretending as if this wasn't bad as any unrest that we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years. And we were not the only ones. Listen to this outrageous guest on CNN, which is still technically a news network.
I think that there's a real blurring of the lines in the use of the word violence. You keep using these words, violent, 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 and it gives the impression, I mean, the only violence or the only acts of violence against people that I saw were actually police tackling protesters.
Okay, so you see in some of the...
Motherfucker, these people should be tackled. Can I just say that? Can I just say that? Police tackling these people and detaining them and putting them in prison is fucking awesome. I wish there was more tackling going on. Put them in. That's fucking cool. Put them in prison.
Okay, so they broke there was property damage, and a police car was set on fire and windows smashed. 6 protesters were charged in all, including for domestic terrorism. 2 of them are out on bond. 4 denied bond. A number of them not from Atlanta. and look right there. Okay, so that is not violent. You know who says that? One of the senior advisors to Stacey Abrams, Marissa Pyle, senior rapid response manager at the Stacey Abrams Fair Fight Action, said this regarding the comments. You cannot commit violence. Folks, this all comes down to what do you think violence is? She says you cannot commit violence against
You cannot commit violence against a window or a car. Killing a human? Now that is violence. Shame on Atlanta's leaders who fall into the same tired path of protecting property while our people are murdered by the police. Does anyone remember about 2 years ago? This was during the Portland Summer of Love. What was this? Summer of 2020? It was the downtown Portland Summer of Love. It was during the peaceful protests when there was a guy with a Trump hat walking around downtown Portland and an Antifa. I'm not going to use the word Antifa member because there's actually no Antifa, so you're not allowed to talk about. There was a guy with a Trump hat, and someone during these very peaceful protests walked up to him with a handgun, put it up to his head, and pulled the trigger, splattered his brains on the concrete because he was wearing a Trump hat. Is that violence? Because we got, if that's violence, and I think it is, it got pretty fucking violent in Portland. It was pretty violent here. A lot of people got hurt.
a window or a car. Killing a human, now that is violence. Shame on Atlanta's leaders who fall into the same tired path of protecting property while our people are being murdered by their police. So for her, the line is murder. You kill somebody, then you're in trouble. But just, you know, blowing up a police car, that's not violence.
Yeah, Joe Rogan took issue with this, slamming the media for...
I'm so happy that I'm from the Portland area. I've told the story before. There was a girl I went to high school with. We like almost dated. We didn't end up dating, but we came very close to dating, this girl I went to high school with. Hadn't thought about her in years. Someone told me, another friend of ours that went to high school with, he said, "Hey, did you hear," her name was Margaret. "Did you hear that Margaret went to prison?" This girl joined Antifa. She was an Antifa person, whatever the fuck the terminology is. No, she was a part of Antifa. She was an Antifa person. And during the Portland peaceful protests, she had an aerosol canister with a lighter, and she was lighting police cars on fire. She lit like 3 or 4 police cars on fire, was smashing windows. This girl I went to high school with and very close, almost dated, she is now a federally convicted domestic terrorist and is in a federal prison because she was lighting police cars on fire during the very peaceful protests of the Portland Summer of Love. Amazing.
Gaslighting these riots and acting as a propaganda department. Listen.
Could have saved
You're
her.
willing to
saved her.
overlook some awful on your side, and you're willing to exaggerate some on the other side. But everybody's on the same team, so you have to pretend these people lighting churches on fire aren't these people lighting schools on fire and lighting courthouses on fire. The mostly peaceful. Oh, it's mostly peaceful. That
burning in the background.
I saw someone again say this because of what happened in Atlanta.
Yeah, the Cop City thing.
I hope so, Kefros.
There was literally a cop car on fire.
And they're calling it mostly peaceful.
In CNN's backyard. I know, it was fantastic.
You're not the propaganda department. You can't define things in a way to calm people down. That's not what your job is.
But that's
right. But you're bull people. You're acting as a propagandist. Like that's not. It's not mostly peaceful when a car's on fire.
I mean, so okay, let's be unbiased here. Every mainstream news outlet is a form of propaganda. They have an agenda. Fox News has an agenda. Fox News is propaganda. CNN is propaganda. MSNBC is propaganda. There are multi-billion dollar think tanks pumping money into these organizations from oftentimes out of the country. They're like rootless multinational conglomerates that are pumping money into these media outlets for the sake of pushing their agenda. Oftentimes not even from America, from other countries or from what. It's crazy.
So not only you're not ignoring it, you're describing it. And the other thing to add is most experts say the coordination shows.
My stream is propaganda.
So this thing was rehearsed. So much in which they did, the way they acted, the way they communicated, shows an organization, not an
I've got an
idea.
agenda.
Antifa is as despicable as the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, but nobody wants to point that out. The FBI director comes out and goes, Antifa's more of an idea. No, they got stocking caps, coordination. They probably have monthly meetings and dues.
Antifa's an idea. Isn't it weird that just like dozens of masked individuals wearing the same color scheme and getup are all able to randomly show up at the same place at the same time? That's so weird that at the same time, their fashion is coordinated. They show up at the right place at the right time, and they all engage in the same behavior, and then they leave at the same time. That's so weird. Just these random people are doing that. Oh man, that's just so strange.
Most of them, as you take their masks off, find out they're from privileged backgrounds, and their family must really be proud.
The governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, put out a statement. He said his office will not tolerate unlawful crimes in the name of peaceful protest.
Yeah, Joe Rogan also went on to talk about how they just are shoving ideas down people's throats. And he said that's what tribal instinct is. And he said that's what he believes religion has always done. But he said if you flip it and you talk to an atheist, they believe so strongly, they're trying to shove it down your throat. So in a sense, it is their religion. They just don't have a deity. So I thought that was fascinating.
Absolutely.
You know?
And one thing I will say about the Joe Rogan podcast, I don't generally listen to it. Whoever does the beeping on his show, actually, they don't beep. We
That's
do
us
for our
doing
show.
it.
Their finger must be worn out.
Okay, no, when Joe Rogan first came on the scene and everyone was talking about how good his podcasts are, I'm driving out to Long Island, my daughter's in her car seat in the back, and I started listening, and I'm like, oh my gosh, trying to find the controls.
Right.
I didn't realize that it's not a family-friendly. Yeah,
right.
No.
Growing up on the LIE with mom. I can't wait to see her children's book. I found out early it was okay to use the F word when I really mean something.
She was too young to even know what it was, but I quickly changed.
Amazing. Amazing. Lawless. Absolutely lawless. Dude, you know who boomers love? Gutfield. Boomers, like Republican boomers, love Gutfield. He's the funniest guy on earth, Gutfield. To the boomers, they love him. They love him. CRT video. You know, around here we I'm gonna try to put on my headset here. You know, we love CRT. We're a big fan. Can I turn the headset on? There's the headset. Okay, hopefully I've got like a couple hours of battery life here. Hopefully that has sufficiently charged this. I think that what I have to do is this. I need to flip my audio settings here. One moment. Is this going to work?
For years, schools taught the basics, reading, writing, arithmetic. And now the liberal arts colleges have infected these schools. A well-rounded education's basically white privilege and homeroom and abolish capitalism after recess. Critical race theory spreading like a disease. Teachers pushed politicians to ban it, and some did. But some teachers didn't see that as an order. They saw it as a challenge to
talk about the Frankfurt School.
Bend the rules and change the names. On Friday, we aired hidden camera videos of Ohio school districts bragging about how this CRT sausage is made.
We have some parents that, they don't fully understand. So, it's when we trick them,
You can just tell. Listen, I know this is a debunked, pseudoscience. Yeah, whatever. You can look at her physiognomy and you can tell she's insane. Like you can just look at her face. You can look at her cheekbones, look at her eyes, look at her forehead, look at her chin. I know, it's pseudoscience. You can't talk about physiognomy. That's debunked. Yeah, well, she's insane. Yeah, she's fucking insane. So now what?
What do you mean? But, similar situation. So if we have a certain content that we want to share with students, and they see one word in the language, it's like, oh no, we can't do that. Well, let's look at it from a different, viewpoint, and then they're okay.
We reached out to that school district for comment, and they accused us of deceptively editing that video. That video we just showed you, there wasn't a single edit. And the group that goes undercover, Accuracy in Media, who does a great job, they left Ohio and now they're in Utah, a place you'd never expect CRT. But look what they found.
What does the MAGA crowd or the church say when you start talking about social justice?
You teach it to a group of seniors at West Jordan High, and they don't.
They talk to students about what is diversity, what is microaggressions, especially at the middle school level.
Or even middle school, do they get any social justice?
Yeah. In junior high, yes.
We have a very close partnership with Planned Parenthood, and they come speak in our district all the time.
Whenever our team goes out, we don't do an opt-out prior to. They just go out, meet the kids, work with them. We operate like a math department.
Parents need to wake up. Don't listen to the media. They'll just spin this into, oh, you want to ban books or you don't want slavery taught in schools. That's BS.
I do want to ban books. Chat, I'm going to go on the record. I don't care what that makes me. You can call me what you want. I am pro book banning. There are certain books I'm pro book banning.
The truth is,
depends on the book.
We don't want our kids called colonizers in kindergarten. Is that too much to ask? And we don't want teachers sneaking around behind our backs. Those are our kids. They're not yours. Douglas Murray is a Fox News contributor. I didn't like that woman at the end who said they don't do the sign out sheet. You know, you have to give your parents a little sheet. You're going on a field trip or anything. They don't even give that to the parents. That's sneaky.
Banning books and burning books is for fascists. Remember that, dude. Dude, what books were they burning? I'm gonna Google that.
Yeah, well, the whole thing has been sneaky. I mean, you know, remember, ever since the CRT in schools issue first came up in this country, people from the teaching unions to individual teachers to Democrat politicians and others and campaigners have been saying the same thing. At one and the same time, they say, CRT is not taught in our schools.
Right.
CRT should be taught in our schools. CRT is good. There is nothing wrong with it, but it's also not being taught. None of that makes sense.
So it's obviously being taught because we have the video and they're lying about not teaching it.
And I mean, that thing we just heard from Utah of, you know, we operate like a maths department. Well, kind of, except that first of all, you haven't told the parents you're teaching this so-called math-like subject. And secondly, of course, as we know, CRT doesn't add up to anything. Right. The whole thing is a mess, and I've written about this at length, ideologically and everything else. The whole thing is a mess. In CRT land, 2 + 2 = 5. So no, they don't operate like a maths department. They operate like a systematic operation of brainwashing Americans' children into thinking that, you know, America started in 1619, that everyone's a colonizer, that there is a hierarchy of oppression and much more. They just teach us gibberish. And so when when parents hear kids coming back from school spouting this, they spout it because they were taught it in the classroom, because, as Randy Weingarten and others know, it's a beautiful thing which they don't teach, and they do teach.
And everybody knows America started in the late 18th century when we beat the pants off of you guys.
Well, I mean, that's a disputed issue.
All right.
Good one,
Murray,
Joe.
love having you on. Thank you so much.
Great to see you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page.
What I want to do is, that's actually false. America doesn't exist. True. Homeschool rate per year, USA. Okay. A bunch of homeschool stats. 3 to 4% of school-going population in the U.S. is homeschooled, according to most recent federal data. Can I see a trend by year? Okay. Number and percentage of homeschooled students ages 5 through 17. Okay. In 1999, it's probably like 1.7%. In 2020, 4%. Quite interesting. It's triple. It's gone up a lot. It's gone up a lot. I'm going to try to debunk this. I'm going to try to play devil's advocate. I would imagine that this number is probably giga inflated because of COVID. right? That COVID probably bumped that number up, maybe artificially. I do think some of that is going to stick though. So we're getting out of COVID. COVID's over. Kids are going back to school. I think a lot of parents have sort of like had this insight into what their kids are learning, because the kids are at home and you're sort of listening into the conversations that are going on the Zoom calls. And yeah, maybe this is pre-COVID lockdowns. I guess COVID lockdowns were early 2020. I'm not sure. We'd have to see. But yeah, I think a lot of parents, probably after having been exposed to what their kids are learning, are going to actually stick with homeschooling. I imagine that will be graduation rates. Homeschoolers versus public school students. So homeschoolers have an 8% higher graduation rate than public school kids. 8%. Chat, would you take an 8% increase in your DPS in World of Warcraft? Would you like to have an 8% DPS increase in World of Warcraft? Yes or no? Sounds good to me. Sounds good. Yes, dude, my chat is bugging. I got to reload my chat. Insane. Yeah, anyway, I guess I was curious about this because I think this is a conversation I've had with my wife about our kids. Our kid. Hopefully more on the way soon. But, in a couple years, we're going to have to think about what we're doing for school. And I think both of us are not exactly excited or thrilled about the state of American public schools, to say the least. We're thinking about it. We are thinking about it. Judge orders Paul Pelosi attack video released. Oh, that's going to be a weird one. Remember all the conspiracies about the Paul Pelosi situation? Like, people were saying that it was a gay lover or a gay prostitute, that some of the information just didn't line up. Who knows? We got to see what the fuck is going on there. What's going on here? Chat, are we running out of stuff to watch? Are we running out of things to watch here? Lazy TikTok video girls are getting fired. What's going on? What's the deal, bro?
Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joe.
Yeah, I'm leaving. Yeah, I'm out. Yeah, so I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave here. Okay, you know what? Here's what I'm ready for. I'm ready for a cut video. I'm ready for an absolute trashy cut video. Like 3 transgender midgets talking to 5 members of the Taliban. Give me something fucking crazy, okay? Give me the craziest shit that you have, okay? Okay, I know what we're doing. Dude, I'm actually losing my voice. I'm losing my voice. You know what we're going to do? I've been putting this off. We're going to watch the 53-minute video. We are going to watch the 53-minute video. Does feminism include trans women? Female feminists versus anti-feminists. Adam Schwagans, here we go, baby.
Some pretty blanket statements saying feminists don't care about it. And you say, you think that all women just are against men.
To answer your question, yeah. You're talking about women. Women are not all feminists.
Yeah.
That's true. My wife, I said, Kathy, you can't say this. You're not allowed to say that. So don't say it. Kathy said, I said, Kathy, what are you? Are you feminist? And she said, I'm a TERF. And I was like, Kathy, do you know what that means? Do you know what that? I was like, Kathy, you can't say that. And she said, I don't care. I'm a TERF. Kathy, my wife of all people, said that. What the fuck?
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. If you're a woman, you should be a feminist.
Step it up. Step it up.
I think the concept of anti-feminism is like counterintuitive as a woman. Like everyone should want equality of sexes, you know? Everyone should want to have the same education level, the same all these things in a position and still make as much as a person who identifies as male.
In this society, we have to be feminists as women because
there's certain things going on where our rights are being stripped away, and Black women, Black trans women are more likely to be murdered and attacked, and that's absolutely a feminist issue, and that's something that everyone should care about.
Everyone of any gender expression, men included, should be feminist.
That's true.
I think there are different brands of feminism, if you will, that don't represent what I think all of us here feel is the true ideal of what feminism
Absolutely.
is.
And I don't think that everyone has to be active as a
Was that her label? Did it say that? Hold up. We're giving them labels. Feminist. No, it just says feminist. Okay.
There are different brands of feminism, if you will, that don't represent what I think all of us here feel is the true ideal of what feminism
Absolutely.
is.
And I don't think that everyone has to be active as a feminist in the exact same way. Like, not everybody can march, not everybody can protest, not everybody can really be an advocate for feminism.
At the end of the day, it's taking a look at patriarchal systems and seeing the flaws in those systems and how they negatively impact everyone.
I pause on that thought. Can the disagreeers step forward?
Define woman. Go, please. One of you.
A person who their internal idea of what they are is a woman.
Terrible definition.
What is a woman? A person whose internal idea of what they are is a woman. Huh. Ariel, go to town.
Definition. Coming from a lesbian, that destroys the very concept of our sexual orientation. Just saying that it's an idea.
Why?
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 Because you can't be connected and sexually attracted to somebody's brain.
Let's make sure to keep it to the prompt. If you're a woman, you should be a feminist. Why do y'all disagree with that?
Okay.
I completely disagree. You know, exactly 2 years ago, if I had done this, I probably would be a feminist. But then I started to look at, and I think the agreeers actually mentioned this, like, what do Black women gain from feminism? Because I remember even during Black Lives Matter, when I led 2 protests.
Only support movements that you personally benefit from? Based? I don't know.
For Black women. And I counted how many white women I saw there, and the ones who were there who were just there to take pictures for social media, and then the Black men also hiding behind us. Everyone, the whole world hides behind Black women. Enough.
Same thing that's happening. Look what's happening in Iran. People on the feminist.
I think this is a really dumb. First off, like, total anecdote, Andy. Maybe that was her experience one or twice. Second off, like, you're mad that you have to, like, can I say, like, you're mad that you have to, like, pioneer your own struggles, or like fight your own battles, I guess, or be on the front lines of your own struggles. Maybe, I don't know how to phrase that. I don't really think that she has a solid.
Side right now are not speaking up for those Iranian women. I have a friend that is trans woman living in Iran right now. It's miserable. Nobody stands up for that poor girl.
As a woman, I particularly think I'm a humanist. For example, 2 years ago, I was a raging feminist, and I made a decision to pivot my platform, teach Black women how to sit in our feminine energy, because we've never experienced that.
Well, that just sounds like Black feminism to me, teaching women how to do that in the time that we are in now.
But we're not learning fast enough. We deserve to rest, we deserve to relax, we deserve to choose if we want to be a traditional wife. I went from law to being a CEO to now I just want to be a housewife. And every time I say that, I get so much hate. Like, women work so hard to get to this point. Why do you want to be a housewife? Because
that's what you
my
want.
Choice.
That's what you want.
That's
the
choice.
whole
Feminism is all about choice. Exactly. Why can't I choose? That's the whole point of feminism. It's like, why can't I choose? What are you missing in America to claim that you are oppressed as a woman?
Well, we just had our rights to our own uteruses stripped away.
The right to murder your own baby, though. I mean,
it's not a baby, it's a clump of cells.
I mean, we all are clump of cells right here.
I think everybody's going to agree and disagree.
Yeah,
on
that's
that,
a whole.
I don't know if that's another topic. That's another topic.
I had a very, very hard time not stepping up to that prompt, because my whole life I did consider myself a feminist. seeing how this modern wave of feminism has now turned into something very different than equal rights. We all want equal, of course, we want equal rights. We want equality as women, of course.
But how can you have equal rights when you can't define the word woman on the far left?
Alta had a Women's Day recently, and the Women's Day was celebrated by 2 trans women who still had their male parts. I mean, you're pushing women out of womanhood.
I'm sure we're going to have discussions about whether or not a trans woman is a woman, but I actually want to go back to how we feel that our ideal of feminism is probably not the way that you four think of feminism. I'm willing to bet.
I agree with that. I think that's why people like me stepped away from that. Not because we're not women empowered or believe in women empowerment.
It's because we are women empowered.
It's because we believe women empowerment means something different than what you guys believe in.
And what I've seen now, pause there. We're going to reset. Next prompt. There's no wrong reason to get an abortion.
Okay. This will be a spicy one. You know, I was actually, before we get into this, I was talking to my wife about abortion not too long ago. And we were talking about this, and you guys know my wife is very, very traditional. Very based, I would say. I think the kids in the playground would call her that. We were talking about this idea that men are not allowed to have an opinion or speak their opinion or contribute to this conversation, the abortion conversation, because they are not personally affected. That men are not, they're not the ones receiving the abortion. It's not their fight to give a fuck about. And we were talking about this, and I had never heard this opinion before. Kathy said, you know what? If we want to do it that way, then she said this. My wife said this. She said, if we want to do it that way, where men can't have an opinion on abortion because it's not their body and it doesn't personally affect them, then I think that women should not be able to have an opinion on anything military related because women don't get drafted in the U.S. Only men do. And she said that I think women should also, if you want to go that route, women should not have an opinion on circumcision, on circumcising their sons, because women don't have a penis, she said. I never heard that counter argument before. Quite interesting, Kathy, quite interesting. The other thing is this idea that men can't have an opinion on this or can't have input on this is crazy. That's not the way a democracy works. In a democracy, you don't just, we live in a society, right? You're not just supposed to shut the fuck up when something when a decision that needs to be made in the democracy doesn't personally impact you. You don't just stay silent on that. That's sort of not the way we do things. But let's see here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you were making a health decision between you and a medical professional that is the right decision for you, your body, your future, it is always the right decision.
I would never stand between anyone with a uterus from making a decision about their body.
No, yeah, they're like, you can do it. You can have this health. You can have this health care if you are a.
There was no wrong reason to get an abortion. So, my opinion, I can think of several wrong reasons to get an abortion that I would take issue with. If a woman said, let's say a woman's due date is October 7th, and it is October 6th, and she says, you know, I know my due date is tomorrow, and I know I'm 8.99 months pregnant, and I'm going to deliver this baby tomorrow, but I want an abortion now. Change my mind. On the last day. I think that's a wrong reason to get an abortion. I would say that, so can I fathom a wrong reason to get an abortion? Absolutely I can. There's one right there. Off the top of my head.
Incest or a victim of rape. It's like, you should be able to have access to that what if you want it. You know, it's the same as going into the doctor and getting a routine check. If there's something for your body that you think will, you know, not just benefit you, but help you live and also help you sustain an actual good life for your child, then that's what you need to do.
And
yeah.
Financial is a huge thing too.
It is a huge thing.
It's an extremely huge financial responsibility to have a kid, and some people just don't have that means.
I agree and disagree. I'm definitely pro-choice. I'm probably the only anti-feminist that's pro-choice.
Being pro-choice, pro-abortion is actually very common. It's like 78% of Americans.
Okay, so yeah.
There's actually many people who are in your category.
To me, it makes sense.
I think I disavow the term pro-choice, right? Because I think a lot of people in the country are tolerant of abortion on a gradient of levels, right? Some people are okay within the first week or the first month or the first 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. I imagine most people in the U.S. are tolerant of abortion in the first month, for instance, but that most people are not tolerant of third trimester abortions, right?
In certain circumstances, I don't think people should be using abortion as a form of birth control. I think, to me, abortion's, believe it or not even the issue we need to be talking about right now. I feel like we need to be talking about how to properly educate people, no matter what their status is, no matter what their sexual orientation, whatever. And we need to go from there.
Well, I think I have a very interesting perspective on this because my mother opened the first Planned Parenthood in our state, and she is very pro-abortion outwardly.
Almost nobody is a third trimester abortion, though. Yeah, but there's still people that would, and it is still something that happens. Likewise, you could say that less than 1% of abortions are listed as being the result of rape, right? But that's still worth considering. That it's still worth considering those people in those situations. Of course, even though it's an extreme minority, still it's worth talking about, right?
But inwardly in our home, we weren't allowed to do it. And so growing up at that dichotomy really, I think, messed me up a lot because I was like, okay, which one is the truth?
There are wrong reasons to get an abortion. A wrong reason to get an abortion is if you are going through your pregnancy and all of a sudden you change your mind. If you are irresponsible and all of a sudden finding yourself scared of motherhood.
When people say that women are getting abortions because they just...
I'm saying even pro-choice people would still be against third trimester abortions. I think that's a pretty big presumption. My mom, for instance, is totally okay with third trimester abortions. My mom. I've talked to her about it. Okay, so I wouldn't leap to that conclusion, my friend.
Just don't want to be pregnant anymore. They're not actually understanding the way that an abortion works. Most of the time they're talking about late-term abortions, and what a lot of people don't realize is when you have that kind of abortion, you have to give birth to the fetus. There's no...
Stay safe is an anecdote, Annie. Hey, if you're going to drop a comment that says, I think most people probably wouldn't do this, bro, that's about as like anecdotal and vague as you like. Okay, based on what? You're gonna call out my anecdote and then you're gonna defend I think maybe probably most people may. It's like, yeah, give me a break. Okay, I'm gonna rewind this for a second.
And all of a sudden finding yourself scared of motherhood.
When people say that women are getting abortions because they just don't want to be pregnant anymore, they're not actually understanding the way that an abortion works. Most of the time they're talking about late-term abortions, and what a lot of people don't realize is when you have that kind of abortion, you have to give birth to the fetus. There's no going back. You're literally giving birth to a body. It's never just a, whoop, I don't feel like being pregnant anymore. Guess these last 8 months I just wasted everything. No one's doing that.
Raising children is the most blessed gift. And I speak as such.
So I think you could pretty easily make the argument that very few people, definitely not no one, very few people are doing that because under Roe v. Wade, you weren't legally allowed to do so. It was not legal to do that. Roe v. Wade had a time cap. And now Roe v. Wade is gone. It's a states' right thing. But you could have a state that was totally cool with abortions. People could vote on it. Abortions up to the day prior, the penultimate day of the pregnancy, could be passed, and then maybe more people would do it. But I think saying, oh well, no one did this. Well, it was illegal. right? You could not get a professional abortion past a certain date under Roe v. Wade federal law. So I don't know about that.
When I found out that I was expecting for the first time, I kid you not, I was terrified.
But you were prepared.
No. I was not necessarily prepared. I was not prepared. And I was very much caught off guard. And I was terrified because I had an incredible career happening for me on the upswing.
Finances.
Let me finish. I had such a dramatic, fearful reaction to becoming a mother because of what our society has been telling me throughout my adolescence and my early 20s, is that once you become a mother, it's all over and it ends. And that is a very, very deeply rooted problem in our society that I do think we need to address.
That sentiment is the patriarchy in action, though.
What is the patriarchy?
Oh boy.
What isn't the patriarchy? I feel like that's the better question.
It's a systemic ideal that favors masculinity, men,
male power, male dominance,
the traditional idea of what a man is.
The patriarchy is a system that oppresses not just women, but everyone.
It's not patriarchy because the people who scared me so much were the women mom bloggers.
Just because it's coming from a woman.
Coming from women.
You know what I'm pro? I am pro matriarchy working in symbiotic harmony with the patriarchy. I am pro holy union, sacred union of the matriarchy and the patriarchy, working beautifully together as a team, as a partnership, as an equal investment. That's what I'm pro patriarchy and matriarchy. I love it. I love both.
It does not mean
but
that
these
it's
were
not from the patriarchy.
These were the women, and I speak with really strong conviction about this. The women who are publicly outward speaking to other women through blogs, through social media, talking about my life is so hard because of my kids. Oh, my kids are jerks. Oh, life is this. I have no money. Those messages are very, very pervasive, and they're very dangerous, and they're toxic
But
to
they're
women.
also real parts of motherhood. We just discussed how motherhood...
How many of you are mothers here?
I am not a mother, but...
Okay, I am a mother of 12 years. And I know all of the very, very hard parts of motherhood. And I just wish, as someone who has actually, as the only person here who has gone through this motherhood experience, I, from the bottom of my heart, wish that the positive aspects of motherhood supersede all of the hard stuff.
Let's get back on prompt. Again, there's no wrong reason to get an abortion. Isabella,
I want
to hear from Isabella.
There's been so many points I want to talk
I was going
about.
to talk about Candace, maybe. Candace, what she says about...
I don't even know what she says.
Oh, just let her talk.
Sorry.
So my parents actually had me when they were 19, and thank God they didn't abort me. They were not ready. They were in a terrible situation, and having me at 19 made them grow up and mature and become adults and not continue being on a bad path. So I'm thankful for that. And a lot of, something that you said it's society's, I think it was about society's pushing this idea, like demonizing motherhood, and you said that's part of the patriarchy. Well, I would ask you this, don't you think men benefit from women getting abortions because they no longer have to deal with it? They can just sleep around, and if, God forbid, a woman gets pregnant, oh, she wants to abort it. Cool, now I'm off the hook.
What is the patriarchy?
I don't even know what that men oppress us and
that everything that goes wrong, that...
If abortion was illegal, would men be less promiscuous? Would men, to a lesser degree, pursue a life of flippant, casual sexual intercourse? Honestly, I asked that and I thought I had an answer in mind, but actually, I don't know. I don't know. I was gonna probably say yeah, but men are also just absolutely depraved, and once a lot of men, once their dick gets hard, their brain completely fucking flips off, right? So, maybe some, but also not some.
Men are to blame, and I don't think that's a healthy way of being.
Very happy to live under this so-called patriarchy.
This word patriarchy, it does not make...
Let me ask the same question, but with women. If abortion was completely illegal, would women, to a lesser degree, pursue a life of sexual promiscuity? that's not, like, in some cases, yeah, some cases, no. I think it's like an individual thing.
What, that men oppress us and like...
That everything that goes wrong, that men are to blame. And I don't think that's a healthy way of being.
Very happy to live under this so-called patriarchy.
This word patriarchy, it does not make any sense to me. Women are not oppressed in America.
Patriarchal society doesn't bother me. Like Marilyn Monroe says, as long as I can be all of a woman in it, I am not bothered.
The feminist movement is inherently racist.
What is all of a woman? The feminist movement is racist.
Movement does not benefit POC in any shape or form. It especially does not benefit Black women. And the darker your skin is, the more you are used. I call us, Black women, as the bullets for the feminist movement.
Sorry, I'm listening. Yeah, I don't know if she's right about this.
If we're talking historically, if we're talking how feminist movements started, it was an exclusionary movement.
Absolutely.
If we go back to the suffragettes or even further, Black women were not allowed to join in that effort because they really weren't fighting for Black women.
Until we were used as bullets.
Right.
If we're not being used, we can't be part of the movement.
They did use Black women. They used Black women's efforts because most of the most achievements that feminism, you're right, like most of the achievements of feminism have been done by Black women, and white women have stepped in and taken the credit for, like,
most of the achievements of feminism have been accomplished by Black women, and then white women stepped in and stole the accomplishments. Is that true? Is that even true? Okay, weird. Okay, maybe.
Like people who
maybe
do identify as feminists, especially those of us who are white, I think the most important thing for us to do is to sit down, shut up, and listen to Black women.
Dear Stay Safe, why do you hate women's blights? Do you mean rights? do you mean to type blights? I just don't want anyone to have blights. I don't want anyone to be blighted. I hate all blights.
As a Black woman who identifies as a feminist, my work centers Black women. So to say that, you know, of course, like white women were able to vote before Black women. Like the feminist movement was inherently racist, but how I live my life and the way that the community that I've built around myself of Black feminists, we see.
But why label it feminism?
Well,
why not
you can label it whatever you want, but
helping other Black women.
I think she's racist. I'm gonna just call like I see it. This woman across the way here, I think she is so hyper focused on Black issues. I think she is distancing herself from feminism because it's too inclusive. She doesn't care about the rights of white women or brown women. She's exclusively concerned about Black women. Exclusively, right?
I affirm you, and I see that the semantics makes you uncomfortable because feminism was racist, but you
It is still racist.
How about this? If you guys want, we'll finish the video. Is that okay? I know the timer's ticking down. If you guys want, we'll finish the video. We'll go ahead and finish the video.
But you're not racist. So if you are not racist and you have issues that you want to be working towards for Black women, that doesn't mean that you're inherently being racist or helping white women. I think feminism exists on a spectrum.
We're talking about semantics. We're talking about terms. They evolve and they change. Ideologies change.
Right.
And I think that feminism is evolving and changing. And I think it's because of the work of people like you. And so that's why I can confidently say.
It's evolving. It's not evolving. I think it's devolving. You know, I think third wave feminism, I mean, by all accounts, I see, you know, again, have a very powerful Black mother, a very feminist Black mother. And I mean, no one wants to say they did life wrong, but she's saying, man, I wish I could have taken care of myself. I wish I could have done this. I love how you get your hair done and you go get makeup done and you're so, and she says it, you know, like she wasn't there in the household to raise us, like back to motherhood, because she was gone fighting every single day for women's rights to come home and be exhausted by the time she gets home. And we never got to have a mother, you know.
When I scroll my own social media feed, I rarely see a powerful woman highlighted who is not an ethnicity.
Yes.
No.
The reason why feminism is racist is because the majority of its agenda is in favor of first world women rather than the rest of the world, and the rest of the world makes a very different racial composition. Love it. Okay. If you're a woman in 1923 and whenever the fuck, if you're a woman in 1847, let's go back, and you can't vote, you can't own property, you don't get to choose your own husband, and you're living in the U.S., with what means do you have to fight on behalf of women's rights of Nigerian women? If you don't have rights in your own country, you're an American woman in 1847, how in the fuck are you going to fight on behalf of Nigerian women's rights? Probably, if your goal is the liberation and elevation of women around the world, you probably have to elevate and liberate yourself. You got to break your own shackles free before you can break the shackles free of other people around the world, right? Probably. That would be my take.
Are using them as pawns.
Yeah, using them as pawns.
Oh, 100%.
A lot of big brands are now hopping on this, modern feminism bandwagon, which I don't agree with what modern feminism is. But a lot of brands now, and I'll just say, a big brand that comes to mind is Dove. Diversity is always a good thing. However, I for years have not seen any kind of a ad campaign from the brand Dove speaking to women's empowerment that includes a woman that looks like us. What modern feminism today is lacking, I think, is genuine respect for diversity of opinion for all women.
If you felt modern day feminism didn't hijack all points of view of women, that you would still identify as a feminist?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I mean, the entire time everyone was talking, all I was thinking was, wow, I'm so sick of all these labels and all these different intersections. And these days there's more intersections than genders. And I'm just like, all these identity politics groups, we're just pitting each other against each other. Race keeps getting brought up. I know it's brought up in the prompt for this one, but in every single other one. And I don't even think about this. I don't even think that I'm not being represented even in ads. I don't care.
You're white. Hey, you're white.
It just does. I don't.
Sure.
I am me.
I'm clearly
I'm sure you don't care.
You don't have to care.
Thank you for letting me know that. Feminists always know best for me. That's what I've noticed. It's a trend. But.
I mean, I'm just pointing out that you are a privileged white woman who has not had to.
People said why. When I said that, your white people in chat were like, why does that matter, Stay Safe? I'm actually from the future. That's why I said that. I'm actually teleporting from the future into the past, telling you that.
To see the lack of diversity. When we step into a room filled with other white people, we don't notice that it's other white people. But when women of color have stepped into rooms and they see that it's just a bunch of other white people.
Also, intersectionality is not.
I don't know. Like when I hang out with all of my black friends, like I don't even notice it. Like I've got like when I go and hang out with all of my black friends, there's like 10 of them, and I'm the only white guy. No one. We don't even talk about it. We don't even talk about it. It's all good.
Not just about diversity, and it's certainly not about diversity in ad campaigns. It's about how poor women can't afford to drive to another state to get an abortion, but rich women can. It costs more money to drive to get an abortion than it would take to raise that kid.
Well,
just saying.
But that's the thing, right? Like if you don't have the money to drive to get an abortion, how are you going to have the money to raise that child? Why should you be forced into motherhood?
Reset. Feminists don't appreciate all that men do for society.
I mean, I've got a lot to say about this. Feminists just demonize men. They hate men. All men are trash. They say they hate men while simultaneously trying to become men. They hate them for having power and the patriarchy, so they're trying to overtake it. But a lot of women will talk about rape culture. But guess what? Guess who's going to protect you from bad people? A man. Women are nurturers. We need men.
It's as simple as that. It's a God-given right for men to exist the way they were assigned to exist. We need men. It's very simple. We need men to procreate. We need men to provide. We need men to produce. We need men to go to war and die. We need men. It's
Slow
so
down.
bad now that men they're so scared of us. They're terrified all the time. I go on dates with men and they're like, am I allowed to open the door? Can I not open the door? Can I touch it? Can I pull the chair out? What can I do? And they're shaking, they're sweating. And you're just like, be yourself.
Dude, remember when Hillary Clinton said that women were the real victims of war? Women were the true... I can't believe she said this. Women are the true victims of war because after their husband dies or son dies or whatever, they have to be sad about it afterwards. Like they have to carry that emotional baggage forward, even though the man is dead. It's true. That does suck. That does suck. I don't want to downplay that, but like the man is fucking dead. Okay, so
Just it's
that's
okay.
probably worse.
Like they're
He got his
so
legs blown
afraid
off.
of doing anything wrong. So much so they're now the most lonely demographic in the world, right? Like the straight white men. I heard are now the most lonely because they just creating incels. You know, they don't want to leave their apartment or their house because they're so afraid of women.
I'm not on board with this trend, especially happening in schools right now. There is a trend where they are raising up the girls. Girl power, girl boss, girl this, run like a girl in the best way possible.
You're gonna make me vomit.
That's now it's dangerous. It is dangerous because yes, we want to uplift our women. That's the right thing to do so that men and women do maintain equality. But at the same time, by raising the girls, we are forgetting.
Opposite of an incel? Do you mean a femcel? Or do you mean a gigachad? Either one of those, maybe.
Forgetting about our boys.
Yeah, they want to solve inequality by enforcing more inequality. And if women were equal to men, then why do the girls need to be raised up so much? Why? The only men that feminists like are men dressing as women and dominating their sports and just really reversing what the other waves of feminism fought to do. Have fun with men beating you in your sports, women, because guess what? You're not going to beat them. Have fun. I never even felt unequal.
I take issue with that. They are not men. They are women. They're trans women. They are women.
So I don't even know what the problem is. I feel like a lot of people just want to have a reason to be upset and outraged. I also just don't identify with all these identity politics groups. I think they're being pit against each other, separating all these different people by race, class, gender, everything, sexual orientation, and I look at
this is like a right-wing talking point. It's like we don't do identity politics. The left does identity politics. We don't do identity politics. Like, bro, everyone does it, bro. I'm like, how are you gonna say that you're anti-identity politics? Like politics is identity. All politics is identity politics. The left does it better though. The left owns in America. They own at identity politics. They fucking own.
People as individuals.
They just do it
All right,
better.
on that note, let's have the disagreeers step forward.
There's a difference between not appreciating men.
I'm pro whatever tilts the chat most. All right, guys, Kramer is a male to female transgender woman and also somehow had 15 abortions and also has taken the COVID vaccine 69 times. He's 69 times boosted, okay? So what do you think about that, chat? You chuds. You bunch of chuds in the chat.
And pointing out the inequities that have been systemically put in place to favor men, especially white men, white straight men. There's a difference between hating men and pointing out that there are inequities.
I want to talk about this concept of protection. We're talking about good men who are protectors. Who are they protecting us from?
Bad men.
Bad men, exactly.
Yeah.
Or bad women, bad anybody.
I could drive a car and
it was a rhetorical. I guess. No, I understand the point you were trying to make. That's why I said what you wanted to.
What do you mean it was a rhetorical? No, it wasn't. No, she just brought up another example that you would need to, another demographic that you would need to be protected against, and it didn't fit your narrative, and now you're trying to reel it back. What the fuck do you mean that was rhetorical?
So then who benefits from men's bad behavior? Good men as well, right? They get to be positioned as the good guys.
Good apples.
They're the good apples. Mm-hmm. And that is predicated on the bad behavior of men.
God,
no, they benefit from being a good person and protecting women. Who cares? It's not we should not be praising people based off comparing them to bad people.
But I don't benefit from being
a good girl. I don't
you know,
get
you're a good feminist, right? I'm sure people love what you have to say as a feminist. Other feminists agree with it and are like, yes, go girl boss.
There are
They do.
good people on earth and bad people on earth. We're always going to have that. That would never change. It's in every animal kingdom. So we need the good man to protect us from the bad man.
To go off of what you said, because you said when women are sexually assaulted, they turn to another man to protect them. I work as a sexual assault and domestic violence counselor. I work with rape victims every single day. They don't turn to men to protect them. They don't.
I didn't say they turn to them. I was saying they potentially can, if you're walking home alone at night and
I
you're
don't
afraid.
turn to another man. I don't. I turn to other women.
Yeah, I appreciate men that, like, I love a man that knows his place. Build the house. Yeah, repair that. Because I'm a goddess. Like, if you.
Bro, imagine a man said this. I love a woman that knows her place. Like, make me a sandwich. Like, bend over. Like, the fuck? Why does she think she can say this?
You need to hold your weight in the relationship.
What
like,
the
I
fuck?
appreciate men. I love men. Like, you know, just like you said, you know, you have a husband, you want to cook for your husband, you make sure that he's good. Men have roles in society as well. Feminist is anything you want it to be. As a woman, I am promiscuous.
For me, being a feminist means I'm going to be as retarded as possible. Bro, this chick AJ is just, every time she opens her mouth, I just want to
Have a husband, you want to cook for your husband, you make sure that he's good. Men have roles in society as well. Feminist is anything you want it to be. As a woman, I am promiscuous because I'm a feminist, but you can also be conservative because I'm a feminist. Modern day feminism is about you and what you make it and not what someone 60 years ago said it was. But I don't praise men because they aren't raping. Like, you know, that's...
I agree with everything you just said.
You're agreeing with us.
I agree with you fully.
The same exact thing. Like,
yeah,
that's
but I
actually the
disagree with
movement.
the prompt because I do appreciate men. I don't think that feminists don't appreciate men. I think that's not true.
Like, the person who taught me to be the feminist that I am was my father. Yeah. My father did not raise me to believe that I was less than because I...
Riki, I want you to know this. Throughout your entire life, every time you talk, people don't give a fuck. I'm just going to clue you in. Everything you say, no one gives a fuck about.
I was a woman.
Always.
He raised me to understand that I am societally disadvantaged, but he told me that I was going to rise above that.
My household, my mom was so strong that my dad became so emasculated that he cannot do anything. He stopped working. He became just like a couch potato, right? While she just went out there and kill it. And we are destroying family, as we know, because look at me. I'm in my 30s. I'm not settled down. I don't have children. I don't have this family unit that I want so terribly, because no matter how hard I try, that feminism that I was raised with always tend to overshadow my relationship, because in my head, I know best, right? Like, I know what's right. I know, because I saw it growing up. I saw it modeled to me growing up. Like, a woman knows everything. We're so powerful.
But the
We're so
idea
strong.
that men are supposed to be the head of the household, do you understand that that is killing men?
That's killing men.
It is killing men.
Well, let them die, because they need to go back to working.
The pressure of it, you mean, right? The pressure
of it is destroying their mental health. That's why men are 6 times more likely to commit suicide than women are, especially men in committed relationships. Men in their 40s that are married with families are the highest risk for suicide.
But it's...
Do you think that a men's role as the head of the house, like, I wonder how she got there. Okay, men are killing themselves more than women. True, yeah, whatever the suicide rate is. And that is solely and exclusively because of the responsibility that men have as the sole provider of the house, or the head of the house. That's the one thing that's doing it. That's the one tick that's doing it. How the fuck did she land on that?
It's killing men because...
Because I would bet money you could probably go back to the year 1951, and when men were the head of the house and they were the sole provider, financial provider, and the role of a father and husband was much stronger than it is today. And I would bet these guys weren't killing themselves. I would bet they weren't killing themselves like they are today.
But it's killing men because we have generations and generations of boys who were not raised to be men and rise to that occasion.
It's killing men because we are not in a position capitalistically where we can have men be the one single head of the household, the bread earner, the decision maker. We are no longer in the 1950s. Our economy is not able to handle that kind of nuclear family with the man being the head of the household.
That's true, but she's right for the wrong reasons, right? Yeah. Why not? Hey, we can't talk why not. Don't ask that question. We can't get into that. That's a whole, not allowed to ask that question. But it's true. But it is true. I think if anything, what's killing men, why men are killing themselves, I think they feel less important. They feel less valuable. I think they feel less necessary. Men want to feel needed. They want to provide value. They want to be loved and cherished for the value they provide. And men today feel worthless. Men feel worthless for a multitude of reasons that we legally cannot get into.
The stay-at-home moms and the 2.5 children.
I want to clarify, I'm not a stay-at-home mom.
No,
I do work,
I understand.
and so I do have perspective. When you are in a long-term marriage or relationship with a partner of anyone, yes, you're going to have disagreements, but you also have to understand that each person in that partnership does have roles, because that is how a healthy family functions.
Only women should make laws about women's bodies.
Dude, I hope they all say yes. I want all of them to say yes, because then, flip it. Then flip it. Then flip it. Just kidding. Just kidding. That's retarded. I believe in equality. I believe everyone can make rules for everyone. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I'm going to add a minor caveat to this and not say that like entirely just women should make laws about women's bodies. And I think it's more important that people who are educated on the female body are the people who are allowed to make laws about the female body. Like,
how do you qualify who decides who's educated? Educated equals you agree with me? Educated equals you have the same opinion as I do? Who decides who's educated and who's not educated?
We shouldn't have lawmakers making laws stating, oh, abortion is completely illegal, even if it's an ectopic pregnancy, you can reinsert that fetus. No, you're killing people if you make that kind of stupid law.
It doesn't mean that any of our male lawmakers can't be involved.
And frankly, I think they need to be a little bit more involved. Some of them are slacking.
Yes.
They are letting me down.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
you know, I think there are a lot of men who hold a lot of power, who are on our side, who are not.
Dude, she is such like a wannabe politician. She's on the political up and up. She's coming up. She's trying to get votes. She's getting votes right now.
Doing enough.
I want to say it's funny because I think you all spoke for us, because I think you all agreed that everyone should be involved in making these laws. We need men. You see how simple that was?
And men can be women these days.
Men can't be women if they actively identify as men. That's not a thing.
I currently identify as a man.
Okay, then you're a man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you agree that these laws that are specific about our bodies, shouldn't the originators of that bill talking about our bodies be women?
Answer that. Can y'all?
No. I think I
Wait, rewind, hold up. What's the question? Sorry.
Thank you.
Do you agree that these laws that are specific about our bodies, shouldn't the originators of that bill talking about our bodies be women?
Answer that. Can y'all?
No. I think I don't think we should think about men versus women. I think we should have intelligent.
It's not about men versus women. Of course, men are going to be involved with creating laws and putting laws into place. But when we're talking about the language, when we're talking about verbiage for these laws, shouldn't a woman be, multiple women preferably, be
involved?
Yeah, be at the forefront of what these laws look like for us.
I think it's less about a man versus a woman and more about the way society is now versus 50 years ago. People that you didn't even vote for, that are spending lifelong terms in Congress and such. You know, that's in the Supreme Court. That's more of an issue to me than worrying about if a man or a woman wrote this law or bill.
There's checks and balances to our government, but I wanted to ask you, would you? I'm a woman. I'm 100% pro-life.
Oh, you're a woman now?
I identify
She's
right now.
fluid.
I'm switching back.
Okay, cool.
No, very fluid by the hour. But
She's so mad.
would you be okay with? So I'm a woman now, for now, and I am very pro-life. you're okay with women like me making these laws? Because you disagree with the outcome there. I'm assuming you're pro-choice, right?
But the law is, if we're talking about Roe v. Wade, right?
Yeah.
The law is about, it's not about your ideal of pro-life. It's about abortion. It's about bodily autonomy. If you don't want to get an abortion, fine. That's what it's all about. It's your choice.
I want to sort of reverse it and ask you the question.
Okay, so once again, men and only men are needed to sign up for selective service, the draft, the military draft in the U.S. Every man at the age of 18 signs up for selective service under penalty of going to jail. You have to sign up for selective service. It's the draft. So that's you're in the system. If there is a military draft, you're in the system. You're getting drafted. You have to sign up for it when you turn 18. Because women are not drafted, because women do not sign up for selective service, should women be precluded from having any input ever in any military agenda, military spending, military whatever, because women do not get drafted? Because this is the exact same logic that they're applying foreign policy. Anything that could potentially lead to a draft of a man. This is the exact same logic that we are talking about, that they're using to cut men out of talking about reproductive rights, conversations like that.
Any laws about women's bodies where there was no women involved? Because there certainly are.
Right, but we live in a system of government where there are states' rights, and I live in California, and guess what? I don't agree with anything our governor is doing. I don't agree with the majority that is in our state legislature, yet I live here and I choose to live here, and if I have a problem with the laws, then I have the opportunity to move to a different state.
So just fuck all the people who don't have the opportunity to move to a different state.
Everyone has opportunity to work, to make a life for themselves here in America. What I love about America is that this is the only place on earth that you can work and achieve based on your merit.
I was raised by a
Europeans are so mad, dude. Europeans blown the fuck out. Damn, owned, super owned.
Single mom
super
who,
owned.
Didn't have the support she needed to really mother me. So by the time I was 15, I moved out of her home. And I lived with a boyfriend at the time. I fought my school board for better sex education. I fought my senator when he voted to repeal funding for Title X and birth control access to funding I relied on. And I told him, why would you deny me the American dream? And I shared with him that birth control was helping me to be successful, to go on to higher education. And now I'm on a full ride at Columbia University. I'm the first in my family to go to college. And in large part, that is because of access to birth control.
You guys mentioned that, not everyone has a bootstrap. And this is why feminism is such a weird topic to have in this particular country, because I'm from a developing country, I'm from Nigeria. Although my parents were quite successful, thankfully.
I too am from a developing country. It's called the United States of America.
But I grew up around poverty. I saw it every single day. And so to come to this country, to have to start over and make something of ourselves, and I see immigrants do it all the time. When you say things like, oh, I was raised by a single mother, or, most people don't have bootstraps, you're in America. That's like, this is the place to do it. This is the place to do it. Find that boots, honey, and put it on.
No one's saying that there aren't challenges. We're saying that this is the best place to have that challenge.
And I quickly want the challenges are not distributed equally.
Nobody said that.
Let me just, somebody did.
To say that only women should make decisions about women's bodies is completely unrealistic.
I have to believe that there is a future where that is possible.
Well, of course there's a future. More women.
Dude, please ask her. Okay, should women have no say in whether or not their sons are circumcised? Are you willing to completely forfeit your say in whether or not your child's son is circumcised? Are you willing to completely forego your opinion on anything militaristically involved because you don't have to sign up for selective service? There's like multitude of examples like this. If you open this can of worms, if you start relegating specific aspects of the democratic function to exclusively the demographics that it uniquely affects, that literally never fucking ends. That never ends. That never ends.
Women than ever are serving in our government. Of course there's a future. So of course women always have a seat at the table.
You're at Columbia. You moved out at 15, you're at Columbia.
Yeah,
You're
but when
here.
I graduated from UC Berkeley and I was in my lecture halls, there were 2 other black people, and it's 400 people in here. Like, that makes me uncomfortable.
It's not that we look at everything through an oppressive lens, it's that many of us hold different identities that allow society to continue to oppress us. A friend of mine had to travel across state for an abortion. She had the ability to select between paying for her disability, the things that she needs for her disability, or traveling for an abortion. Like, you guys don't have to think about that.
But that
she
was
has
her
decision
decision
to have sex.
To get pregnant.
Unless it wasn't,
she
then
was
I'm
being
agree.
raped.
No, then I agree with you.
Raped.
Then I agree with you.
Okay,
Well,
I
well
think
done.
But I shouldn't have to tell you that story for you to understand that there are certain things that you have not experienced that oppress other people. Oh, okay, you're just traumatized enough for me to understand that maybe things are hard.
Feminism that doesn't include trans women isn't feminism.
You surprised to see me here?
No.
Okay, good.
You know, it's really important to include trans women and trans people and...
Ladies and gentlemen, it is turf time. Ba, 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 ba. It is turf time. Introducing special guest appearance, J.K. Rowling. Ba, ba, ba.
Gender nonconforming people, which, by the way, I am gender queer myself. I don't actually identify as a woman. It's really important that those of us who do have privileges like speak up for trans women in the community, especially because they're the most at risk for hate crimes.
I also want to just level set and say that we are having this conversation without trans women, right? We are sitting here today having
we
that
know that?
conversation without.
How do you know that? Good question. How do you know that? What leads you to think that?
For sure.
I identify as
She's
trans.
on a hold on.
Uh-oh. Wow, you're you're transphobic and you're a bigot now. You shouldn't have said that.
She identifies as non-binary, and
Your
she's on
life is
she's
over.
on a feminist panel.
my pronouns-
So maybe she doesn't belong here either. They don't belong here.
Plot twist, I am biologically female and I'll never deny that. I lived as a woman for most of my life. I am 31. I only came out a couple of years ago. I spent a lot of time, you know, the majority of my life in these spaces with women. That does give me a kind of unique perspective now being a trans non-binary person.
There's an issue with
Happy to have you.
categorizing womanhood as a means of female. Earlier, it was mentioned by somebody on the anti-trans side about trans women coming in and taking over sports and things like that, which is just not true.
That is true.
It's not.
It is. I can show you a number of cases.
I can show you
there
a
might be
number of
people that also
science-
haven't.
No, I can show you a number.
Trans women retain 30% of their biological advantage.
That is not
if they
true.
went through male puberty. Yes, it is.
That is
yes, it is.
That is not.
Let's not argue it.
backed by-
That's not even the prompt. So we're not going to argue about that.
Because you're wrong.
If you are a trans woman and
I think one of the strongest questions you can ask here, if you're this woman on the right, say, listen, okay, if you're a biological woman and you're going to prison, you've murdered someone, and you're going to a prison cell, you're going to a women's prison. You walk into your prison cell, and your cellmate is Clarissa, the 6'7", 275-pound trans woman with a penis. Do you feel comfortable in that prison cell with Clarissa? How does that make you feel?
you walk out in the world and you are seen as a man, you do not belong in women's spaces. I don't care what anybody says. I think that's ridiculous, and I think even trans women that have gender dysphoria that go through transition will agree with me.
This makes me so incredibly uncomfortable that we're even having this conversation.
You could go back
about
over
that.
there if you really wanted to.
Ooh. If we took all of that off the table, right? If we're not talking about who can play sports with whom, can people exist as who they are?
Absolutely.
It sounded like you were saying if a trans woman doesn't look like what you perceive as looking like a woman, they shouldn't be in feminist spaces.
I didn't say that. I said they shouldn't be in female spaces.
Okay.
Not feminist spaces.
Okay.
I think women...
I disagree with that, but
that's
okay.
fine. It makes sense to biologically classify people, it also makes sense to socially classify people. Let's say my friend Blair White was sitting right here. It's my buddy. I love her. She's sitting right here. Do I think she lives her life as...
Who the fuck is Blair White? I feel like I've heard that. Oh, this is like the hyper-conservative trans girl.
We need to talk.
Okay.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year. It is officially the first video of...
Love it. Good. Okay.
As a man, no. Like we were talking about men making decisions for women as far as abortions are concerned. That's something she'll never experience.
There are women who biologically cannot produce. There are females, people assigned female at birth, who biologically cannot produce. Are you saying that those female women should not be able to have say in those laws
That's
either?
not what I'm saying at all. I guess my main issue with trans women being seen as women and not being seen as trans women is they're changing the definition of women and expecting everybody to go along with that. And that affects me, yes they are, and that affects me directly. You say trans women are women are trans women. It's a very...
Can a trans woman have opinions on abortion? Imagine you're like a trans woman and you're like the most staunchly anti-abortion person on earth. You're like actively campaigning against abortion. Amazing.
Very different experience.
Trans women are women.
We're just going to agree to disagree with that. If you ask feminists at a women's march what a woman is, they can't even define it. How can you protect something and empower something that you don't even know the actual definition of?
Well, I will say J.K. Rowling calls herself a feminist and was canceled for not being pro-trans.
Harry Potter time. Dear Stay Safe, thank you for helping me complete my trans journey. You have been a huge support in my journey. You're welcome. I have that effect on people all the time, though results may vary. Many such cases, though.
Which is kind of overtaking and reversing some of the work feminists have done in the past.
She's a billionaire.
Well, they criticize her.
Fine.
She's fine.
Oh, her billionaire
fine.
feelings are hurt. I'm so saddened for her.
Feminist movement does not allow anyone to have any other opinions but what you guys think is correct.
Though? Because she's allowed to have that opinion. And she still makes a bunch of money.
Yes, she does.
What do trans women take away from women in the feminist movement?
The definition of words and what that means and how that affects us directly.
Can you expand on that?
Yes, when you change the word woman, legally it has implications. Sexually it has implications.
But the word woman
directly
has changed throughout histories, throughout different cultures. Indigenous people have had different genders, different ways of looking at gender. The Torah specifically has 8 different genders, and we have recognized that for over 3,000 years. You're denying anybody's
True citation, the Torah.
Culture that does not agree with your perception and your worldview because you hold so highly onto your identity and you see it as an attack on who you are.
So do all of
on sexual orientation.
So do feminists as a whole.
But it's nothing to do with sexual
It has exactly to do with sex. When you change the word woman and a lesbian is a woman that is attracted to women, how is that not directly affecting us?
Dude, I think I've read there's a lot of like really turfy lesbians. Is that true? There's a lot of lesbians like they're having problems where they're on like lesbian dating apps. It's a lesbian biological woman trying to pick up other lesbian biological women. And I think like maybe a lot of lesbians oh man, can I say this? I think a lot of lesbians have probably had pretty negative interactions with men in the past. Right? Like they maybe it's like sexual trauma, a lot of really negative things have happened maybe that have led them there. And they have a big issue with trans women in sort of like their lesbian safe spaces. A lot of lesbians are not happy with the
It has exactly to do with sex. When you change the word woman and a lesbian is a woman that is attracted to women, how is that not directly affecting us?
What defines a woman is being born with biological women's parts, and that is what a woman is. And trans women are individuals who choose to live their lives as women, and I honor that. And
That's it. Well, listen, okay, you might think you have a slam dunk, but did you know that there's actually 0.00001% of women that have a very rare genetic disorder that actually fucks up their chromosomes? Did you know that? Did you know that? Did you even know that?
Everyone deserves dignity and respect, and I mean that. But at the same time, there are universal truths. And we have, as a society, gotten to this confusing tangled place where there's your truth, your truth, your truth, your truth. There is one objective truth in what we are.
Can you explain to me the women in Guatemala who are born female, who are assigned female at birth, and then during puberty grow penises?
I've never.
Can you explain that? Can you explain the Guatemalan women that grow penises? Have you even thought about those Guatemalan penises?
I can't explain it because I don't know anything about
that. Sounds like an intersex condition.
You try to, again, but how feminists always try to tell us how we should live our life. I said I was a raging feminist. She goes, I don't believe that. I don't see that. I don't.
Okay, now I'm gonna Google Guatemalan penises. I'm sorry. Hold up, give me a second. I have to Google that. Guatemalan, like how do you Google this? Trans penis growth. Oh, found it. The discovery of a small community in the Dominican Republic where some males are born looking like girls and only grow penises at puberty has led to development of a blockbuster drug that has helped millions of people. Is this a real thing? This is on BBC.com. It's posted in 2015. I can actually skim through this. Chat, listen. I need some fact checkers here. Why does it happen? Well, one of the first people to study this unusual condition was Dr. Julianne Imperato McGinley from Cornell Medical College in New York. In the 1970s, she made her way to this remote part of the Dominican Republic, drawn by extraordinary reports of girls turning into boys. When she got there, she found the rumors were true. She did lots of studies on the guevedosis. Sorry to my Espanol-speaking viewers. Including what must have been rather painful biopsies of their testicles. She's chopping their balls off before finally unraveling the mystery of what's going on. When you are conceived, you normally have a pair of X chromosomes as if you are to become a girl, and a set of XY chromosomes if you are destined to be a male. Where are my XY bros at? Where are my XYs? Where are my XYs at, bros? For the first weeks of life, in womb, you were neither, though in both sexes, nipples start to grow. That's why men have nipples. Then around 8 weeks after conception, the sex hormone kicks in. If you're genetically male, the Y chromosome, okay, so this is like the 0.00001% of people in the world that have some like very, very rare, obscure chromosomal disorder. So yeah. So anyway, did you even think about the Guatemalan penises? Did you?
I'm saying I can't see any traces of feminism in
My
what you're
mother
saying.
is literally.
We heard a lot about your mom, but what about you?
I am a woman. Looking at me, I am a woman, born and raised a woman. Why are we trying to write women, born biological women? Why are you trying to write us out of history?
You guys keep saying that there's a biological reality of male and female. Scientists do not agree.
Because it's called his story. That's why.
With you.
Scientists that you choose to agree with. I mean, you can find a study and a scientist to back up anything you want to prove these days.
I choose to do peer-reviewed studies and not ones that are backed by political agenda. And I'm sorry that my peer-reviewed studies tend to agree with the fact that trans women are women and that biology, it does not exist in a binary. Never has and it never will.
I secretly crave men's approval.
Yeah.
Huh.
Men's approval has kept me safe in so many ways. Being desirable, being fuckable has kept me safe many a time. And it's no secret. I guess that's where I disagree. It's no secret that sometimes men's approval is what stands between me and safety.
I firmly believe that the reason why I waited so long to come out with my transness is because I was afraid of losing male approval. It is so embedded into our society. I really pushed myself to present in a way that wasn't authentic to me.
Is that the word transness or is it transient? What is the state of being trans? Transness, transient. I don't know.
for men.
Translucent?
I'm trying to unlearn this like very actively and trying to fight for nobody's approval but myself. Like, because it's not even that I should have men's approval or I should need men's approval or women's approval. I should need my own approval.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, this prompt I think might be surprising for some folks to see us sitting here.
Yeah, because we're like so feminist,
sure,
but like,
but
you
it's
know.
a reminder that this work doesn't happen in a vacuum. And that because I am implicated in what is happening, right, in the issues, I am implicated in the issues, that's why I do the work. Because I am impacted by them.
That's really selfish of you. That's fucked up.
I've never thought of a moment where I thought to myself, oh, I wish that man would find me sexy because I feel so empowered in myself. I always dress like this from head to toe, covered usually from head to toe, and I don't think I've ever experienced that moment, perhaps subconsciously, but I don't think I've ever. And, you know, I think that's also why, you know, with my platform now that I switched from a raging feminist to femininity, which I was, and you can't tell me what I was and who I was. I had the shaved head, the armpit hair, all of it.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. And when I went from that to that, now I teach women how to like dress modern and cover up and be feminine and soft and all of that.
Who are you dressing modern and modest for?
For myself, because it empowers me. I am Nigerian first and foremost, and because of that, in our culture, we've always been very modest. We didn't even have a word for it. It's just that's how women dress. We layer on top of layers on top of layers. And I remember when I first, you know, became a feminist and like moving.
Stay safe. Do you seek male approval? The only approval I seek can be found right here. And I'm not happy quite yet.
And I was so skin. I always felt so uncomfortable.
Why did you feel uncomfortable with showing your skin? I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just asking out of curiosity why you felt uncomfortable, like what the root of that discomfort was.
Because it's not who I am.
But I also think we'd be denying reality if we said when we put clothes on the morning, we didn't think about the way that we would navigate the world in them, right? The way that people would perceive us and think about us. And it's definitely worth noting that, like, you know, clothing choices are also about access to power, access to moving through spaces, being seen as acceptable in certain spaces, right?
Like covering up, not necessarily because you feel like that empowers you, but covering up because it's a sense of safety. Like so many, like one of the things that we have to, with my job, we have to correct officers on, like when an assault victim comes forward, like they're not allowed to ask, what were you wearing? Like, but that's because it's very bad. It's very dehumanizing because it implies that
it was their fault.
That it was their fault.
I think we can all agree on that.
Okay, I agree with him. You shouldn't ask what they're wearing, with the implication that it was their fault. At the same time, I think I could conceive that if you're just like trying to get the details of a crime that happened, you would want to know the victims and the perpetrators' shoes. What color were their pants? What color was their shirt? You know, like how tall were they? I think actually what were you wearing is an acceptable question if you're trying to parse out a crime that happened without even assigning blame to someone because what they were wearing, right?
Yeah, I just don't really care about men. Like, men are not a part of my day. When I wake up in the morning, I think about how to be the baddest bitch, how to step into myself. So if that's looking like you from head to toe or showing a little cleavage, like it's gonna be what it is. And men are gonna like, the men I attract, they like me because I am like no one else they've met. Like they've never really experienced this new person. It's like you don't know what their approval is. Like, especially when it comes to things like race and preference, and like nothing that I do is gonna really be approved by men ever. So I might as well just do me.
But I do just want to say that men's approval, once again, it's not just about if they want to date you or marry you or have sex with you. It is about if they want to hire you, if they want you to be a part of their organization or their school. And so when we talk about wanting men's approval, we're talking about if they want to hire me, if they want to let me have access to that social mobility, and if they will allow me to be safe walking down the street or in a bar. Men's approval is so much deeper and more systemic than just romantic.
Are we allowed to? I have to agree with that.
Would you hire anyone here? Who would? I would hire the mom. I'm gonna hire the mom. With the red shirt, mom, You're hired. Honestly, probably no one else.
People do we're on the opposite end of this because, you know,
Isabel, well, that's because you're a coomer. But
I'm a
no,
blogger
it's the
and
mom.
I write
The answer's the
about
mom.
women's like makeup and, you know, for example, Dove is one of the brands that I am the face of. And when I go into those meetings, they are white men. And although I do not go into it thinking, oh my God, I should seek their approval, I do know that the way I dress conservatively gets me those checks.
And probably as a black woman, how you wear your hair as well.
Oh yeah, they love this hair.
And
Oh, they love it. They love it. They love it.
I was trying to push you before.
No, I do that. I do,
Yeah.
but that's also how I was raised, and it's cultural. Nigerian women are very conservative by nature.
It's rational for women to fear men.
You know what? I'm gonna say yes. I think it's fair for women to look at the stats, to look at the statistical data, and say, you know what? I'm gonna be guarded around men. Okay, I'm looking at the stats here, and I see that, yeah, totally fine, totally. In fact, they should be out of self-preservation because there's a lot of crazy men out there.
Sexual assault and domestic violence victims every single day, it has completely just reopened my mind and my trauma because I am a sexual assault survivor myself, which is why I got into the work that I do. It's every single woman, almost every single woman has some sort of story where she was in a room or in a space with a man and that man made her feel unsafe. And if every single woman has a story like that, it's rational.
Stay safe, bro. Haha, bro. Listen, if my wife is with my daughter and they are walking in public, they're walking around the mall or the grocery store without me, I want my wife scoping out men looking for fucking weirdos. Okay, I want my wife on guard. I want to teach my daughter to be on guard. Okay, 100%, 100%.
No, absolutely.
There's fucking weirdos
And I think that's
out
why,
there.
again, I know I'm bringing this back to the trans issue, but that's why I think it's important to define what a woman or man or male or female is. Like, if it's just something in your head, then why do we logically have to be afraid of that specific thing if it's just something, a gender in your head?
So
there are biological differences that can make us fearful or make men react certain ways that are different than women.
Yes and no, but there's
absolutely
a different perception of a trans woman than a man. Like in my experience, when women are in the same room as trans women, they're not as fearful of oh my God, this person could assault me, because the likelihood of trans people assaulting women is so small. It's practically
and there's
not.
a reason for
there's
that.
a reason for that.
I agree with that.
And
Actual trans women. My point.
Trans women, period. Not actual or inactual.
No, there is a thing. People that are claiming the trans identity but are not trans.
That's against the prompt.
That's true.
Men are not only scary because of their biological difference, they're stronger, whatever, right? Some of the violence is that men can be abusive, harmful, and get away with it.
It's the systemic power.
It's the systemic power that is scary.
The reason that 90% of sexual assault cases go unreported is because of roughly the 8% that are reported, only 2% of them actually face consequences.
And we see.
Okay, okay, hold up. Are we going to call burden of proof systemic sexism? Are we comfortable conflating evidence and burden of proof of a crime the same? Are we going to conflate that with systemic sexism? Because I'm not comfortable doing that. This is one of the problems with reporting sexual assault and rape, is that it is hard to prove. That's a big problem. It is a hard thing to prove. It's hard to persecute or to prosecute, but yeah, I don't know about that.
I think we all agree.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees.
Right.
Some of my deepest, I honestly would say probably my deepest trauma is actually not my physical sexual assault. It was the manipulation that I faced in the workplace by someone who was not necessarily physical with me, but they manipulated me. They used their power to paint me in a light and push me out of that job that I loved.
I'm so sorry you experienced that.
I agree, like the stats will say a trans woman, which I would say is a man, a trans woman, it is less likely, like very unlikely to attack. But it's not even, it's really kind of the principle. It's like, but if they were to, they would beat me up.
But then I'm going to take that one step further, which is that if they were to, and then the police were to come, what would their experience be like versus yours as a white woman?
I'm not talking about the cops. It's just me and
But
the
the cops
trans
are
woman.
a factor.
I actually hate the cops.
I
Just
have a-
saying.
I have a question
I don't
for
like
you, though.
cops.
If you see a male person and you see a trans woman, like
Also, for the record, Isabella is not white. She's white presenting castizo. Okay, so there is a difference. Don't strip her identity.
male person and you see a trans woman, like what does that have equal amounts of fear for you, or is there a difference?
So my thing, I'm trying to focus in on a trans woman.
How can I tell? Oh, I made it up.
Wants to
I made it up.
beat me up.
Why are trans women wanting to beat you up?
No, that's not. I'm saying hypothetical. It's a hypothetical. I'm just saying, like, can we all agree that I would get my ass beat?
But I'm saying...
Well, yes or no? I mean...
yes, maybe,
So that's
but
all
then
I'm saying.
how would the experience be outside of just that
Why are we
hypothetical
going- I'm
vacuum?
not talking about
No,
this.
I want to finish my thought because
that's not the prompt, though.
No, but it is the prompt because we're talking about, we can't talk about this in a hypothetical vacuum.
What's the prompt? The prompt was that it's rational for women to fear men. But you're bringing in trans women when the discussion is men.
It's not about physicality for me. It's about power.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
is that,
and that's what you are
and
saying.
that's what I'm saying is that that situation is so unlikely, and it is unlikely because of the difference in societal power that you hold over a trans woman.
That's not exactly true.
For people who love to
I understand what you're
who
saying.
love to criticize other people for assuming genders incorrectly, you love assuming how things are going to happen and like predict the future and how situations play out and how I'm treated by everyone else.
Well, you're hypothetical. That's a hypothetical. You're also
assuming what would happen to me. You're
assuming they would beat you up.
A man would beat me up. Yes.
Yes. You're assuming a trans woman would beat you up.
We'll be specific. A
Male.
male.
Yes.
Okay.
Better. That's
Better.
all I'm saying. You want to avoid answering that part and go into this bigger, broad
What's
thing
the
to
question?
avoid. If there's a biological man, a trans woman.
I disagree with you on the definition here.
Biological male.
But I'm a biological woman.
Well, we'll say male or female and gender man or woman.
I'm a biological woman who is roughly of like not too big of difference of size. I could easily beat you up. So why are you more afraid of them than me when I present just as equal of a difference to you? It's because of your...
No. Listen, hold up. This is wrong. Listen, whatever you are, you're like maybe a 5'9" and 130-pound woman, 140-pound woman. Compare that to a 5'9", 140-pound man. Okay, listen, my wife is my height. I'm 5'11". My wife is 5'11". There have been points. She's thick. She's a thick, stout Germanic woman, just like I like them, okay? There have been points where we've been about the same weight, within 10, 15 pounds of one another. And there was a time, probably about a year ago, we were like kind of like play wrestling on the bed. And of course I was going easy. And I was like fighting back, but I was going soft, and she pinned me down. I was pinned. She got me. And she made this comment. She's like, wow, I'm a lot stronger than I thought I was. And that's when I showed her. I just fucking ripped up and I did a 180 and flipped her on the back. Okay. It's like not even fucking close. Literally not even fucking close. Okay. She's out of her mind.
You obviously could
No,
beat me up too, but a man would beat me up more.
No, you said this 5 minutes ago. Males, not men.
Yeah.
And then, we ate schnitzel and pooped on each other.
Necessarily. Males create, would you say 90% of, would you say males create 90% of the crimes?
I didn't say that.
There was something like that.
I said I was talking about reports of sexual assault, and that does actually include male assault victims. And most of
them are males.
And most of the male assault victims, their assaulters were also men.
That's my point. Right.
Hi. Okay, so let's start by saying the conversation that I just listened to, I don't disagree with much of what we were talking about. When this prompt was asked, I interpreted the prompt to say, to communicate, it is rational for women to fear all men. I know that the word all was not in there, but that's how I sort of understood it, which I don't think it's rational for women to fear all men. I think that's very tragic. We know that there are bad men. We know that there are very, very good men. And I personally think that the amount of good...
Dude, here's the fucking truth. It's always the men that women fear the least that they should fear the most. It's always like these like soft pussy beta. I'm an ally. It's like, it's those guys. I'm a male feminist and I'm an ally. It's those fucking guys. Those guys are the fucking problem. Those are always the guys doing the fucked up shit. That's true.
Men exceedingly overwhelms the amount of bad men, but that's just my personal opinion. I also, quite frankly, fear women. I do. I fear how manipulative women can be to each other in the workplace. I fear how manipulative women can be to each other and how toxic women can be to each other when it comes to polarizing topics like we've discussed here, motherhood, other very incendiary topics.
We're talking about physical abuse with men, and actually with emotional abuse, it's most common in...
You know what's her name, Jill? You know what the mom has? She has like actual real world lived experience versus like university, like fresh out of university, completely theoretical experience. You're not even going to call it. Like these people have theory. She's got she's got fucking street smarts. Okay.
Lesbian couples.
Really?
So,
Yeah,
that is actually...
You would know.
No,
You deal with it. It's
there is
horrendous.
actually a statistic.
Horrendous.
Women are equally as likely to commit domestic violence. I genuinely, when I got into this work, I thought that it was going to be like, oh, just men commit domestic violence. No, women are
Really
equally
bad.
as likely to commit domestic
But
violence.
why were you surprised by that?
Because I had a different definition in my head of what domestic violence was before I got my training. Domestic violence is not just like punching, hitting, or physical violence. Oftentimes it's emotional violence, psychological violence, sexual violence, financial violence, legal violence, and women are far more likely to commit psychological domestic violence or emotional domestic violence.
But why were you, with your original definition, the more violent definition of domestic
Like
violence?
physical violence?
Yeah, physical violence. Why were you surprised that, oh, women, like...
I wasn't surprised that
Like
women
you
commit
assumed that
physical.
men would.
No, I wasn't
Commit
surprised
more,
that
though.
women commit physical violence. Physical domestic violence.
Dude, something just clicked in my head. Hold up. What's the guy's name? What is it? What's the guy's name? Yeah. Bro, she actually kind of looks like, in a way, she looks like older, like 53-year-old Marilyn Manson. Like kind of. Almost, actually.
I assumed that under the I assumed that there was one definition
clicked.
of domestic violence, and that was physical. And statistics do show that men do commit physical domestic violence more than women do.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. But
Like,
when you add in all other kinds of domestic violence, women commit it at equal rates.
Yeah. That's a wrap on the group discussion. Take a breath for a second.
I do appreciate the ways in which we have been able to come together and agree, because I am of the opinion that feminism and anti-feminism, they do oftentimes blend, because I think a lot of the times we are misunderstanding what the other person's
We all
viewpoint
want
is.
what's good for women.
That's what I said over there.
We
I
just
said
have
we all
a
want
different
it.
idea of
what
what's
that
good
is.
for women. Yes, but we all want the best for each other.
Even if I disagree, I love strong women. I love it. It's not a gay thing, maybe a little bit.
And all of our intentions are good. We don't want ill.
That is a wrap on the group discussion.
Isabella's angling for like the Fox News. She's trying to get a job at Fox News, Isabella. I know what you're doing, Isabella. You're trying to get a job at Fox News. She's going to get a fucking job at CNN. She'll end up on CNN. She's going to get a Fox News job. It's happening. It's happening. Yeah, so crazy. I love to see male feminist versus female anti-feminist. Bro, I would pay to see that. Dude, give us a lineup of like a bunch of male feminists versus the female anti-feminists. That's what I want to see. That's a good idea. Anushka Valentine with 35 subscribers on YouTube. Nice one, Anushka. Good idea. Good idea. The mom is actually working for PragerU and has school programs. Oh, is that true? Do we have like a link of their social media, these women? Ah, yeah, we do. Okay, what was her name? Jill? Please no OnlyFans. Please no OnlyFans. Please no OnlyFans. Thank God. Oh, you want to know something? I thought I recognized this mom. This mom was a guest on the Real Entertainment podcast with the Armenian guy. And she's actually like a millionaire businesswoman. Her son is like a super famous TikTok star with 50 to 69 million TikTok followers. I knew I recognized this woman. I knew I recognized this woman. Yeah, no, she's like semi-famous. Yeah, yep. What the fuck? AJ goes by the name AJ the One. AJ the One. Please no OnlyFans. Please no OnlyFans. Please no OnlyFans. Please, please, please. Link in the bio. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just okay. I'm just gonna. She probably. Okay. The One. AJ. The One. You want to see Nike? Nike. Who is this? Who is this one again? Oh, she's the Nigerian woman. Nigerian woman. Cool. Is this building in Nigeria? Is this in Nigeria? Cool. Cool building, Nigerians. Cool. We love it. Me and my boys, we fuck with the Nigerians. Isabella. She's banned. She got banned. She is banned. She got banned. Cool. That's the way it is. That's the way. That's the way the news goes. Alexa, plexiglass. She was the worst. Alexa, you're just the worst. You are just the worst. You are just the worst. Cool. Love it. Love it. Cool. Love it. Love it. Okay. Love it. And by that, I mean you're the best. Okay. Guys, the subathon is over. We went into overtime. We have broken 3,000 subscribers, which means at some point in the very soon next couple days, we are going to be doing a 24. No, we did that. We're going to be doing a Hot Ones spicy chicken plus one chip challenge. We're going to be doing a 10-hour long 10,000 calorie eating stream. And we also hit 3K subscribers, which means we are going to do a shooting range stream. I'm taking you guys to the shooting range. It's a beautiful range. You guys are going to like it. It's in the forest. It's tucked away. It's very cool. We'll probably talk to some, I'm going to introduce you guys to a very rare breed of American. A lot of you guys online, unless you've been to America and you've been in this community, you probably don't know these type of people. You guys might get to meet some real, authentic American K-Kona gun guys. Like some actual... Bro, the last time I went to this range, there was a guy who was telling me that I need to go to Oklahoma to buy ghost guns that the federal government doesn't know about. He's like, yeah, man, you need to drive to Oklahoma and buy ghost guns so the feds don't know about them. I was like, yeah, thanks, guy who I literally just met at the gun range 30 seconds ago. I will do that. I'm going right now. Goodbye. So we're gonna meet some fucking we're gonna meet some wild guys out there. Okay, we like the gun guys. They're cool. Gun guys are crazy. They're cool and they're crazy. Oh shit. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna host Jokered. No, I'm gonna host Guzu. I already hosted Jokered. I'm hosting Guzu. I'm going to host Guzu. He's doing something World of Warcraft, something World of Warcraft. I don't know what he's doing, but something World of Warcraft. And I will see you guys. You know what? We are going to do a very chill, low-key stream tonight. We're going to go live for just a couple hours. Kathy and I are going to be doing Zillow house reviews. So please, get a list of addresses together. If you know some crazy fucking houses in your neighborhood or in your town, some creepy-ass house, we're going to pull up a bunch of addresses on Zillow, and we are going to do Zillow house reviews. We're going to look at the interior. We're going to look at all the photos. It's great. Yeah. By the way, I am stealing this idea from Nick. Yes, I am. Very clearly, I am. And I figured it'd be a nice activity to do with my beautiful wife. So we're going to be in Discord with my wife. We're going to be talking, and it's going to be great. Yeah. I'm stealing the idea from Nick. So what? Sue me, okay? Sue me. Do something about it. But we're going to be back tonight at some point. I'm not sure exactly what time, but I will announce it in the Discord. ! Discord. ! Discord to see the announcement. But other than that, I'll see you guys. It's probably like 10 hours from now, 12 hours from now, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, see you guys then. I'm going to send you over to Guzu. I'm going to activate the raid. Here is the raid. Did that go? That didn't even go. Okay, I got to reload. Well, this is awkward. I don't have anything to say to you guys now, and I have to reload my webpage, and it's taking, and I just don't have anything to say. I'm out of stuff to say. /host Guzu. I got to get out of here. Bro, the host is just, it's actually not working. Can I try this one? Oh, I need to raid. I'm so dumb. I'm trying to host. You need to raid. Hosting is not a thing. They got rid of that. Okay. The raid has been activated. Yeah, bro. Hosting does not exist anymore. I'm an old school. I keep it old school. Okay. Here it is, boys. Take care. Toodles and smooches.